Hello, hello. How is everybody doing? Happy Sunday. How are the audio levels? How is everybody doing this fine Sunday afternoon? Good, that's good. Hello Twitch, hello YouTube. Got some good games here today. We had some really great games yesterday. Really great games yesterday. Hopefully we get something else. Linked your Prime account? Well, I wish I could say give me your Prime subscription, but alas, I don't stream enough on Twitch here to have that option available to me yet. How many games today if Citadel win all of them? So, first series that we're going to be covering is going to be Forever Forward taking on Vancouver Impacts. And the winner of that series will face Citadel in the second group of games. So, depending, it'll be minimum 4 of the 2 best of 3s and maximum 6. So, we'll see how it goes. If Citadel win all of their games, then at maximum it can be 5. But we got a whole best of 3 to go through before we get to Citadel. Glad to know the audio is sounding good. Hopefully it's better than yesterday. I was very quiet yesterday. I didn't realize until after the stream just how much quieter I was than I wanted to be. But yeah, how's everybody doing? How we doing? Are we excited about the games today? Because I think they're going to be fun. Yesterday's games were a blast. Like, they were crazy. I know we got lucky enough to see that game 1 between Citadel and Oakland. That was the bloodiest game of the day. I think it had like 86 kills across the entire game, something like that. But pumped for more games. Hopefully they'll be just as exciting today. Yeah, I agree. I hope they will also be as exciting today. I think we have a good shot. 2 teams we're covering first are very fun. We can pull some things up here. I am getting the multis for the op.gg's up so we can look at these teams. Yesterday's games were insane. Absolutely. They were wild. They were a blast. Multiple late game comebacks. A lot of good and bad plays in general. So I'm excited. I am excited. Let me just pull everything up here. Down here. So the first series that we have today, it's going to be Forever Forward taking on Vancouver Impact. Should be a very fun one. Both of these teams are pretty close in terms of the seeding. That's kind of what you're dreaming of for these games, so. Let me see. There's an error pulling up the Impact one. We're getting close, though. Game should be starting any minute now. 4 o'clock EST, 1 o'clock PST, so. Oh, but yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. Let's pull that up, shall we? See if we can look at anything that happened in round 2 yesterday that is interesting or relevant. Should be able to see it. All right, let's take a look at the bracket. Let's take a look at what happened. Not a ton of like crazy upsets Round 2 was interesting. Near Airport obviously making their way through. UCI taking down Wardens. That's a big win for them. Wardens obviously, lost a couple of key members early on. It looked like that team was going to look a bit different. UCI is a good team, though. I'm excited to see them versus Near Airport. I think that'll be fun next weekend. Respawn making their way to round 3. Bikini Bottom Warriors dropping out here. Obviously, the ones that we covered yesterday. Citadel dropping 2-1 to Friendly Fellas. That series was very fun. Definitely not the result we were looking for as Citadel Gaming, but it was definitely an interesting one. YBN1 is going to make their way there. Tempest ends up picking up a 2-0 win. Gravity picks up a 2-0 win over Fisher. It's a pretty rough draw for Fisher. I think both of those teams are pretty good. Don't ban Viego making their way through. Apex Mission Impossible. But we are now down here. The lower part of the bracket is what we have to worry about today. And we are down at Z10. Forever Forward taking on Vancouver Impact. I wanted to show you guys the Vancouver Impact multi-search, but it's not up here. We do have the Forever Forward op.gg's. And honestly, I think this team is decently flexible. I think the picks that are pretty certain to get banned are the Rakan and the Castante. They definitely feel like two things that this team very much values, so we'll see. You never really know. Solo queue can only tell you so much. I certainly had some thoughts and opinions about some drafts yesterday for some of the teams that did not go the way I thought. Would Citadel play the loser of FF and YBN1? I believe so. We can check that out, actually. We can check that out. So they would play... if they were to win today, they would be playing... No, losers don't come down until round 4, it would seem. So they would play the winner of Flippers and winner Z9. So Flippers or Prosperity or Potato Tomato in round 3. And then round 4 would be the loser of C5, which is here. So they would play the loser of Tempest and Pepe Lala. I think once you go down into the lower bracket, you move to the other side. You kind of get swapped so that you're not facing the same people that could have knocked you down there in the first place. So YBN1 would, like YBN1 and Friendly Fellas would be on the other side. Makes sense? Yeah. But just, competitive balance. Try to get as many matchups as you can. Try not to get anyone as unlucky as possible. Should be kicking off here in just a moment. But yeah, I'm excited for today's games. I think that there are a lot to really go through. This losers bracket is a lot more interesting than I expected it to be. In terms of some of the teams that are down here. Obviously, we already talked about Wardens, but Bikini Bottom Warriors, I think, is a good team. We saw them yesterday. We've already had a couple of teams back out. Fisher Falcons, Foxtrot, and then most recently, unfortunately, the Legends. The Legends have officially dropped from the tournament. The team that played near Airport yesterday that everyone was kind of cheering for, looking for maybe a miraculous lower bracket run. It will unfortunately not be happening. Desperado as well. So some teams getting a little bit of a bye into the next round, but there are a lot of interesting teams here in lower round 2. Drop Dead's here. St. Clair and Oklahoma Christian are here. Fisher is here. Titan Esports is here. Saving Private Dozer is here. So we have a lot of interesting teams in lower bracket. Citadel is still favorited. I would say out of all of these teams, they're definitely, I would say on paper, the strongest team out of all of these. But, you know, there's quite a bit of competition here. Oh, but yeah, a lot to like about today's games. I think when you're looking at upper bracket, like the teams that have probably the easiest avenue forward, or like the most interesting matchups, like near Airport and Respawn, I think here is going to be ginormous as like a determiner for where a lot of the rest of that tournament and that lower bracket is going to go. Because remember, only 2 teams, I believe, or 1 team qualifies from lower bracket, right? If you, yeah, only 1 team qualifies from lower bracket. If you lose a game, you have to be the best team in lower bracket. The other 2 teams qualify through winners bracket. So, you know, for Citadel, like, I mean, near Airport and Respawn facing each other in round 4, it means that, you know, at least one of them is going to be in lower bracket for quite a while. I think looking elsewhere, I'm really excited to see Friendly Fellas and YBN1. We obviously covered the Friendly Fellas series yesterday against Citadel, and they looked awesome. They looked really good. That team was super complete. They had a lot of really consistent plays. I think they could rely on a lot of their carries to step up. They played the map really well. YBN1 is a very good team, though, if you are not familiar. That's Lunacia, NXI, Triple, Meech, and Claritz. Meech and Claritz had a ridiculous day, according to the stats yesterday. They were absolutely unreal as a bot lane. YBN1 versus Fellas should be very good. Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely one of the most fun matchups in round 3. I'm very excited for that one. We could be looking at Tempest and Gravity here in round 4. Tempest is a pretty good road, I would say. Not that these teams are bad. I certainly think anything can happen. I certainly didn't think that the Friendly Fellas were going to beat Citadel yesterday, but I think the top side of this bracket is definitely harder than the bottom side. I think near Airport, Respawn, Friendly Fellas, and YBN1 all like vying for 1 qualification seed is heavy. And down here, like, you have good teams. Like, I think Gravity's good. I think Galaxy's good. Don't Ban Viego, I think, is good. I think all of these teams are good. You don't get to round 3. You don't win both of your first round 2 matchups if you're not, like, a really good team here already. But I think Tempest is definitely major favorites to qualify through the bottom side of the bracket. It shouldn't be long now. We should be starting up anytime. Just getting things going. I'm excited, though. Should be a good day of games. I'm just excited for the tournament. The tournament's been so fun. I think it's been a huge success so far in terms of what they were looking for. I think we've gotten a spotlight on a lot of players. Friendly Fellow support was a lot better than I was expecting. He would never be. Seen him before? Never seen him before? Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what happened when I tried to read that. I had a mini stroke in my brain, I guess. Yeah, no, Tyson was really good yesterday. That Blitzcrank game was exceptionally good. But he was really good throughout the whole series. I thought the Alistair was great, too. I was very impressed. But that's the fun of these tournaments, right? Is you just have so many people that are gonna get the spotlight that they haven't gotten before. Like, Claritz was definitely a player that I was, like, super intrigued by after day 1. I wish I could find it here. I might not be able to search it up right now. But there is a public stats database by Aegis Esports that has all of the stats from day number 1. It'd be interesting to look at them. But as for the game upcoming, we should probably look at the rosters first. I should show you guys who's playing in both. Vancouver Impact down here. They've got Evil Eyes, Marco Pa, Magmore, Nimbus, and Clara. And you can see that here. I think when you're looking at picks that they really favor. Again, I already talked pretty heavily about Marcos on the top lane going Cassante. But Rakan is like a must ban against them. Clara is very good at that champion. So, I think we can even take a look on the Battlefy. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Let's see if I can find that Aegis Esports. Hold on one second, trying to join the lobby. Trying to get into the lobby here. Put it back on the bracket. There we go. Oh, it's bugging out. Let me, I gotta message them. I'm gonna close and reopen League here. Type ASMR, indeed. With my mic louder, you guys probably hear the typing even more now. If it's like a problem, let me know, and I'll try and move the setup a little bit further away. Let me jump to the starting soon screen. Pro typing sounds? Okay.
We all have moments too.
What is going on? What is going on? I'm getting advertisements everywhere. I'm getting League of Legends opening on the wrong desktop. Alright, let me try and join here. Yeah, that one. Alright. Perfect. What are the most epic matches going on this round? Hello, Shochi. How are you? Congratulations on yesterday. Most epic matches today? Well, the first one that we're covering here. Forever Forward and Vancouver Impact. I'm excited for that one. I think, certainly in terms of the other matchups, I'm very excited for Akuma and Oakland. I think that's going to be a very fun one. And then all of the round 2 matchups I think are interesting. I think there are some teams that got a little unlucky, we'll just say, in terms of their round 2 matchups, so. Should be jumping into draft in just a second. And we are. Let's see if I can get that on screen for you guys. There we go. All right, we're in draft. We're rocking and rolling. We are rocking and rolling. Game number 1. Between Forever Forward and Vancouver Impact, we got Cho'Gath and Kindred taking off the board first. It's the Rakan coming out after that. We expected these bans. We saw these coming. We knew they were going to be pretty highly prioritized. The Thresh and the Skarner following that up. And then it's going to be the Yone as the final ban. Darius and Jax here. I'm interested to see where the priorities end up landing. They are flying through it because they pre-drafted on the Fearless website. In case anyone didn't know that, I probably should have specified that in particular, but Okay, so we definitely have some interesting starts here. Darius Wukong Azir is pretty standard. It's very much a straightforward style execute comp. Like, you just need to go out and get the Azir in a good spot. Wukong's going to be great setup for that. Great engage. And I'm interested to see where the draft for Vancouver goes from here. I should note that Vancouver is on red side and Forever Forward is on blue side for this game. I will have that listed in the actual game itself with some logos, but for now, we've just got this. And it will be the Misfortune Nautilus, it looks like, to round out the draft for Forever Forward. Very straightforward comp. Very easy to execute. I think Darius is definitely an interesting answer to Jax. And I think if they're going to go for something more aggro on the bot side for Vancouver, like the Caitlyn Karma, that does make a lot of sense. Keeps switching me over here to the wrong desktop for some reason. But yeah, I think this is a very straightforward draft between both of these teams. I think for Forever Forward, who's on blue side, you're looking at a front-to-back engage comp. You are looking at Wukong going in and setting up for Misfortune Ultimate and Azir to carry these team fights, hopefully with Darius in a pretty decent position early game. I think Azir in particular, obviously, is in a great spot going into Aurelion Sol. You draft a Sol to be able to match him in the late game, but I'm not sure the rest of Vancouver has like a ton of late game potential here. They gave Foles Azir. Wow, yeah, it's definitely going to be, this is a really good Azir game. I think this is going to be a difficult to stop Azir throughout this one. He's definitely the champion, at least in draft, that I'd be watching out most for. As for Vancouver, I do think they have multiple outs, like multiple options. Obviously, Caitlyn Karma early is going to be very difficult to deal with. But if Jax and Aurelion Sol get strong enough, you can just play the map, play split push style. You should be able to come out on top in that one. I would think that you would have to win early if you are Vancouver. I would think that the Caitlyn Karma kind of has to get rolling, like the Jarvan has to establish prio early. I think anything else is kind of a disaster. That would be my read. Because I just don't think you're ever going to win 5v5s against Azir, MF, like Wukong late game. Even if Aurelion Sol is really strong. I mean, maybe if you go super late. But I'm also worried about the 3v3 skirmishes. Because Darius offers a lot in that Jax can't really answer in those 3v3s. And I would definitely say that Wukong Azir is stronger than Jarvan Aurelion early. So, we will see. Definitely slightly favoring Forever Forward's draft in this one, though, on blue side. But let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Yeah, who are we rooting for? Good question. Who are we feeling in this game? Who are we feeling in this one? FF but never FF. True. Forever Forward but never forfeiting. I'm a Caitlyn hater till the day I die. That definitely comes from personal experiences, and I can't even really judge you for that. I think the Caitlyn has to be relevant this game. If they're not up a ridiculous amount in the bot lane, or if like a lane swap comes in and it's just neutralizing out, I think that's disastrous for Vancouver. Gas up the MF player because you're a basic league player? Yeah, true. MF has not been particularly successful in pro, at least like across the world. We've seen some good moments, but we've also been critical of when MF is getting picked as like when we see a Lulu first pick and then MF come in for Fnatic in the semifinals of the LEC. It's like, Misfortune Lulu. Intriguing. And then they both go 1-5 and lose the game. Great for support, the old gorilla strategy. Let me mute the lo-fi as we're getting into game here, though. Should be able to switch over. All right. Perfect. We are getting into game number 1. Forever Forward, Vancouver Impact. Let's go ahead and get everything set up. Good luck to both of these teams. We've got an immediate pause. Phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. And let me get the logos up on the screen. They are not in the right spots, even a little bit. All right, there we go. Forever Forward taking on Vancouver Impact, game number 1. I am pumped. We have our stereotypical league client freezing. Do not worry. It will be fine in just a moment. There we go. All right. Game number 1. Again, the things I'm really looking out for in the early game, the early pathing of both of the junglers, specifically the Jarvan, is super essential towards being able to win this game. I gotta pull up the chat for YouTube as well. Shout out the YouTube chat. Is the league client freezing or are the players stopping? Yeah, they're all just pressing S. They're all just pressing S on the keyboard, actually. But, I think the Jarvan pathing is so integral to how this early game ends up going. I think if he's going to play really aggressive, if he's going to try and play for that Caitlyn Karma, that's definitely going to be in the favor of Vancouver. We got pause number 2 already. Nothing better than 2 pauses to start the day. At least it's not like yesterday with Philip. Shout out Philip. Hopefully these don't take too long. But like I was saying, I think this is a really great Azir game. Obviously, I'm a big fan of scaling. I think especially in a tournament like this, not a lot of the teams are going to be as coordinated as you're going to see in a lot of the other pro leagues. And so mid games are, like, winning early and winning mid is great, but games are always winnable. Games are very much always winnable. At this level, so I think drafting Azir, drafting Wukong, you know, even MF, like, to compound a lot of this team fight prowess, like, it's just difficult to deal with. It's very simple. You just need to win one fight, and you're probably back in. Every time I see an MF, I immediately hope the other team wins. We got some MF hate and some MF love in chat. We've got dueling MF thoughts in chat here today. I'm personally entirely neutral on the champion. I believe that Miss Fortune can work for the role that she is, which is pretty decent secondary carry damage, can be a little bit of a nuisance in lane. I think if you're relying on her to carry, probably not all that great when you're drafting her with Lulu. Again, shout out Fnatic. It's just maybe not the direction I would personally want to go in, but I think adding it on to a comp with Azir and Wukong as, like, your primary forms of damage, even a Darius, you know, being able to get some resets in team fights, I think that really works. Because once again, it's just about simplifying the process, I think, at this level. I say at this level, at every level. The reason I've always liked Wukong and Nautilus and a lot of these champions is just how easy it is to make things happen in the late game. You don't really have to think about it too much. Hopefully the pause doesn't last too much longer. But again, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the drafts in total in the chat. Let me know what you think of these 2 drafts, because there is scaling on the side of Vancouver. Like, I don't want it to come across like I am completely trashing their ability to play in the late game. Caitlyn is really strong if you get late enough, and I think Jax could be a really big problem, a pretty unanswerable problem if he gets out of control in this game. And obviously Aurelion Sol is very difficult to deal with, and he himself could really win a lot of these fights. All right, we are getting unpaused. Nicolo, good to see you. I can't read that out, but I appreciate it. All right, we are officially back into game. We're seeing standard lanes in this one. I think that was kind of expected. I would be shocked if there were lane swaps in this one, specifically for Forever Forward. But I think Foles is in a great position to be able to carry this game. If I'm Prince, I'm definitely looking to make sure Foles is in as good of a spot as he can be in. Okay. A little bit of trading early. It's actually quite a big trade early for both of them. Foles actually getting quite low in this exchange. Magmor doing quite a bit of damage on the Aurelion Soul. Really nice trade in the mid lane there for Magmor. Also, shout out Magmor, the only player on Impact without the tag. He didn't get the name change request memo. Ult for team fights? Indeed. Indeed, MF is, that's the reason you were definitely talking about, for sure. Alright, we got a bit of an exchange on the top side, but once again, I think the onus kind of falls on Impact here to really create early on in these games. I think the later this goes, the better I feel about the 5v5 potential of Forever Forward on the blue side. Some really good trading here from Magmor. Overall, the lane's relatively neutral start. Of course, Marco Pa struggling a little bit into the Darius early. That should theoretically get better. But you never really know how these matchups end up going. We saw some crazy lane gaps yesterday with Citadel. Bradley getting up ADCS or something like that in the mid lane matchup. Definitely not used to the slower early games, though. After watching Citadel yesterday, game number 1 yesterday against Oakland was an 83 kill game. We do have Evil Eyes pathing down here to the bot side, looking for a lane gank on the Jarvan. We talked about needing to put pressure into the bottom side of the map in order for this team to really accelerate their game plan, and that could be what Evil Eyes is attempting to do here. Marco Pa looking for a nice trade on the top side. God's going to be in a spot where he pulls him in. He's going to do quite a bit of damage. The flash is going to be used. Marco Pa's dangerously low. The Q is just barely going to go wide. And Marco Pa is going to be able to escape. He's going to have to burn the summoner. It's Ghost for flash on the top side, but that's definitely a trade in favor of Darius, especially with the lane state in the place that it is right now. The wave is pushing in favor of God as well on the top side, so a big win, I would say, there for Forever Forward. They're definitely in a much better spot after that play. Nothing came of that, that Jarvan pathing to the bot side. Teleport also utilized here by Marco Pa. As expected. He's going to shove this in, try to crash it. And everything's equaled out. Definitely going to be interesting to see where some attention goes. We do see Prince pathing to the top side here. Jax does not have the flash. The wave state is certainly not advantageous to Marco Pa. Could potentially be seeing something there. Looks like both junglers are just going to continue to clear, though. Doesn't really feel super urgent for either of them. We're still very early on into the game. Magmor continuing to trade well in the middle of the map. It will be Mountain Dragon first this game. That means no Mountain Soul. That was something I was thinking about a little bit for the side of Forever Forward. Mountain Soul would have been pretty valuable for them this game, I think. Nautilus, Wukong, Darius with Mountain Soul is difficult to deal with, and another really good trade for Magmor. I don't usually associate this lane with being very positive for Aurelion Soul, but Magmor doing a great job to get the better end of these trades. He's going to hit level 6 first in the game here. And Dragon will be started up here by Impact. Looks like they're going to be able to grab this relatively scot-free. We see the pings coming down onto the top side. Looks like Prince might want to make a counterplay, either going top lane to punish Marco Pa, or potentially playing for those Void Grubs that are going to be spawning in about 10 seconds here on the map. Clara is going to stop the back of Heretic. Mountain Drake will fall. This Jax is kind of screwed. Yeah, this Jax is in a pretty unbelievably bad position. Losing that flash early. He was already in a bad spot before that. This is unplayable for him. Love Ego is now here topside as Prince is going to be starting up on those grubs. Looks like it will just be a grubs for dragon trade early on here, but the top side of the map does not look very doable. Although the Jarvan is here, we see the Aurelion Soul roaming. This could potentially be a skirmish. Love Ego is going to walk into Marco Pa, hit that stun up. God is going to be on the way. The ult will be popped by the Jax. The hook will land. The damage is going to come out, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to be able to burst down this Jax. Aurelion Soul going to be able to zone Azir out of this fight. The ult going to come down onto Marco Pa. He's not going to be able to bleed out, but Prince is there to potentially try and clean it up, but he is in the pit all alone. We see some flashes over the wall. First blood is going to go over to the side of Forever Forward, but it's going to be traded for a kill onto Magmor on this Aurelion Soul. It's a 1-for-1, but Evil Eyes is stuck in the pit for now. He's going to be able to flag and drag over, and the rest of the Void Grubs will still go in favor of Forever Forward. That's 3 Grubs and a 1-for-1 trade. Definitely still in favor of Forever Forward, but probably a bit more of a contentious fight than they were looking for at the start. And Aurelion Soul picking up a kill there, I think, is very positive for Impact. Definitely what they want to see. So, big interesting one. Your favorite Magmor song is Thrift Shop. Awesome. Great. That's incredible humor coming in the YouTube chat. But I agree. I mean, this is a 4v5. This is unplayable for Jax. There's actually no way for him to be relevant throughout the rest of the game, and we were talking about how important the Jax needed to be for the late game. Obviously, Aurelion Soul and Caitlyn are going to be able to do a lot of damage if you're able to get to that 3rd or 4th item, but Jax was really the piece here that I thought really separated things, and we're going to see if they're going to be able to try and bring some gold back. Evil Eyes with the gank onto the top side. God's going to be able to get quite a bit of damage down, and Prince is here. He's going to use his ultimate to knock both of them up, and the damage is just too much. Evil Eyes will fall first. God is dropping low, but they do not have enough damage to be able to take them down. It's a 2-for-0 on the top side, and the Feats of Warfare going over to the side of Forever Forward. Things go from bad to worse for Marco Pa on the top side. Evil Eyes looking to try and make something happen to try and salvage that top lane matchup, but it's just not enough. You're able to get Darius even more gold, and now Prince is in a really great spot moving forward as well. That's a tragedy. Yes, that was a very poor turn of events. Unfortunately, it was a good look, I would say. You know, trying to salvage something for the Jax, realizing how important he could be for a theoretical late game. If he is in a position where the split push has to be effective, has to matter for a lot of this late game, then you need the Jax to be at least somewhat in this game. But, you know, getting that play snuffed out, Prince being able to be there and to turn everything around, and getting even more gold onto the Darius to compound this lead is a pretty big disaster, and that's really where the gold lead is. Now, the Aurelion Soul, it's going to come down here onto fulls, but he's just going to be able to Shuriman shuffle his way out. It's not the Shuriman shuffle. I don't know what I'm doing. He's going to be able to get his way out of there. That mid lane matchup's been relatively even. Not a ton to really talk about. I think an even game state actually could favor Magmor in the long run. One of the reasons I really liked Full's Azir in this matchup is because I did think he was going to have a lot of lane prio. I figured Wukong would spend a lot more time mid lane than he has. But an even lane matchup I think is beneficial to both, really. Both are in okay spots. But this gold lead is about 2,000, about 2K in favor of Forever Forward. Almost all of that is going to be on the Darius. On the top side, of course, quite a bit of that going to be on Prince, on the Wukong in the jungle here. What do I think about the teams at first stand? I think it's an interesting crop. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the LEC finals, but I know who ended up winning. So we'll see how that... I'm shocked by the outcome, but we'll see how that ended up happening. But I'll probably have a video talking about that on the channel. I'm excited to see Yon versus Khaleesi. That is definitely something I'm excited for, but we're seeing a play on the top side. God is going to get rooted up. Some damage coming down. Nimbus trying to do as much as possible. The ult is going to come down, but it's just not enough damage. Prince is going to be able to go in here. The Wukong ultimate is going to be dropped. He's going to continue to stick onto this Caitlyn, and the damage is coming down. The Caitlyn will fall first. Heretic has now also arrived. They're going to be looking for Clara. Here on to the Karma. The flash ult is going to come out from Heretic, but it's just barely not going to be enough. He's going to survive on the top side there. He's going to look to back. He could be in a potentially precarious position, but is able to get that back off. It's still a 1-for-0 in favor of Forever Forward, and this game just continues to get worse and worse. Baron boots on Asol, hidden tech. Yeah, kind of true. That is certainly that's certainly funny. But yeah, I agree. Jan feels like NA Jackie Love. Ever since they put up that graphic, everybody's been saying that. I feel like I can get the comparison. We do see some collapsing in the mid lane here by Vancouver Impact. This game is quickly getting out of control for them. It feels like they do have to start making some plays. I feel like the longer this game goes, the more neutral this game state ends up becoming, the more things end up becoming a bit more passive, the more that actually favors Forever Forward in this case. But it will be Vancouver Impact picking up their second Drake of the game. It's going to be Infernal. And that final dragon will be spawning, and it's going to be Chemsoul this game. That could be an out for Vancouver Impact. Chemsoul is incredibly strong, and they do have the dragon advantage. And the game state has slowed a bit. Most of that in favor of course, Forever Forward on the blue side. But it's going to be interesting to see where a lot of the attention is put next. No real objective spawning for another 3 minutes, so nothing gigantic to worry about here. Do have some pings coming down into the mid lane here. Darius will be making his way down. Love Ego is going to be able to land the hook. The CC chain's going to come down onto Nimbus. The Ignite's going to be dropped, but it's not enough damage to be able to take him down immediately. God is not going to be able to get here in time on the Darius. Even popping the Ghost, Nimbus will be able to escape. He will survive, but a lot burned on the side of Vancouver Impact. Will be Flash in on that Caitlyn. Of course, quite a bit burned on the side of Forever Forward as well, with both ultimates for Nautilus and Misfortune coming out, but no kills being acquired. But it will be a tower plate going over to Heretic and Love Ego in the mid lane. Fool's pushing in now on the bot side here. Magmore could be in a little bit of a rough spot. He does have the big ultimate ready and willing to go. He understands, though, it's not a great spot for him if Prince is potentially around, so he's going to get out of there. Foles will be able to pick up a couple of tower plates for his troubles. Rylai's is completed here, as well as Shadow Flame for the Azir. Everybody basically completing their first items. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. Everything kind of understandable. But again, I think the longer this game goes, the more Vancouver Impact is going to feel the need to start making plays. Aurelion Sol, obviously a nice late game out for them, and he does have a kill on him, but he is down CS. And it's going to be difficult to break through that 3-kill Wukong on the other side. Darius is going to be a bit of a problem for that Aurelion Sol in that same vein. And I think the front to back is definitely in favor of Forever Forward in this one, so Marco Pod just hoping to pick up as much CS as he can under tower. God, definitely pressuring him out here, but nothing going to be acquired. What does Flying Oysters form look like? Junjie being phenomenal at MSI on PSG, but haven't really kept up since then. They were definitely the best team in the PCS. Or I'm sorry, in what is the league called now? They were definitely the best team in that APAC region. It wasn't particularly close. Doggo looks incredible in the bot lane. We've got things equalizing out here. Again, I think a lot of passiveness because there's nothing on the map to really fight for. That will not be the case for much longer. Foles looks like he's going to be able to get enough prio to get this tower on the bot side of the map. Somehow, some way, he has beaten his top laner to the first turret of the game. That will go in favor of Forever Forward. He's still in the next wave. We do have an engage coming in. Evil Eyes is going to use ultimate. He's going to drop it on Prince, but he's just going to be able to clone out. Aurelion Sol going to be in the midst of the enemy team. Love Ego looks like he's going to be on him to try and put things up for the Misfortune ultimate, but things are turning around very quickly. Prince is going to be able to dive in and hit an ultimate on 3, and the damage is coming down from the Azir. The Misfortune has shown up, the Azir has shown up, and it's a 3-for-0 in favor of Forever Forward. Another dominant win for them. That should allow them to grab both this mid turret and the Rift Herald for free. We have Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. That looks like it will be controlled here by Forever Forward as well. And this game is just getting a bit out of control at this moment. Prince is playing phenomenal on this Wukong. A great engage for him there, being able to land on 3 or 4 members. Just a bit of a mistimed Jarvan ultimate there from Evil Eyes, only landing onto the Wukong, trying to burst him down as a priority target, but he's always going to be able to get out of that ultimate with his clone, be able to get over the wall. Azir is around this Dragon. It looks like they do want to try and contest it, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to. We do see Vancouver Impact walking up. The poke is going to come down. Magmore's going to charge in. He's going to look for something, but he's going to get hooked by Love Ego. He's going to get rooted up. He's going to go low. He will fall, but Foles has to go very deep in order to do it. It looks like he's going to trade his life, but it will so far be a 2-for-1. Nimbus is still alive on the other side. Evil Eyes is going to run, try to escape over the wall. He will be able to flag and drag his way over there, but yet another win here. Just an over-aggressive engage by Vancouver Impact. I say that Evil Eyes is safe, but he's going to get hooked here by Love Ego, and not going to be enough damage. Nobody in range to be able to capitalize on that. And it will be Prince solo taking Dragon here. That will stop the Dragon stacking. Shadowflame Ionian Azir is very odd. Yes. It's an intriguing build. I've seen this pop up more commonly recently in solo queue. I'm not exactly sure, like, if it's optimal. I'd have to look at the numbers on it, but it's certainly intriguing. I got a couple of first stand questions I gotta answer. Doggo Ramus, first stand, yes. Yes, please. Shout out Doggo Ramus. And do I think that they could, that Flying Oysters could beat TL or LEC winner? I do. I do think that they are good enough to do so. I don't think they will, but I think they could, if that makes sense. All right, well, things are starting to get a bit out of control for Vancouver Impact in this one. They did get some gold there. They were able to pull back a kill onto the Caitlyn. It's good to be able to try and accelerate her. This is the part of the game that she is definitely at her weakest, at least in comparison to the rest of the champions in the game. I think Aurelion Sol is still an out, still a win condition. We did see him get poked out. Magmore was very aggressive on that engage, just ended up losing his entire health bar to Foles. Foles did, of course, have to kind of sacrifice his life in order to secure that kill, but definitely still worth it in the end. This Misfortune also becoming a bit of a problem now for Heretic on the side of Forever Forward. Love Ego is going to be behind Magmore here, but the hook is not going to land. It doesn't look like they're going to have enough to be able to get on top of him. Everybody's just going to play safe for now. No more objectives to take on the map, and so the game slows down. Again, we maybe got spoiled a bit with some of the Citadel games yesterday, but just how bloody they were, how aggressive they were in general. Nimbus just poking out here. And Vision Control will be the name of the game for Forever Forward. I think unfortunately for Vancouver Impact, this is also the part of the game where they're probably at their weakest in general as a team. Not only is Caitlyn going to be difficult to fight around, because her 2-item is a little bit worse than everybody else's in the AD carry role, specifically Azir. I say in the AD carry role, but specifically Azir on the other side, but I think you're also looking at Jax being super far behind. It will be Voracious Otacon here, and it will be started up almost immediately by Forever Forward. Doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of contest. It looks like they're just going to use this time to get some priority vision in bot side jungle for the side of Vancouver Impact. Foles is getting aggressed on. I say some forward vision, but it could actually be a dive onto the Azir that they could be prepping for. They are delaying this as much as possible, it would seem, but it looks like they're going to try and 3-man this Azir on the bot side. Evil Eyes is going to go in. He's going to land the knock-up onto Foles, but It's going to be the Nautilus who's here. The Caitlyn ultimate's going to come out. It's going to do quite a bit of damage. The Jarvan getting dangerously low. The Execute could be coming out here from the Aurelion Sol, but they get the GA just in time to be able to let him live. They are able to pop it on the Azir, but at what cost? The Rift Herald will be dropped topside. Every other member of Forever Forward still has their Guardian Angel intact, and it looks like they're going to be able to take this top tier 2 and potentially even more. The Jax in a very dangerous position here, very close to being an Execute range of that Darius dunk, and he gets slain by Darius once again. Jarvan in a very, very bad position here. Somehow, someway, he has overextended. He gets taken down by Foles on the Azir as well, and things have gone from bad to worse for Vancouver Impact in this game. Just a really unfortunate set of circumstances that Voracious Otacon came in just in time to allow Foles to be able to stay alive, or I guess keep that shutdown from going over to the other side. You know, keep a lot of that gold inflection from going over to the other side. Evil Eyes and Clara just couldn't quite get there in time to make that play worth it. And it really comes back to Vancouver Impact. Comes back to bite Vancouver Impact, I should say. Foles also going to grab this tier 2 in the bot lane. And things have spiraled out of control. We are looking at an 11k gold lead here at 22 minutes into the game. And I'm not exactly sure what Vancouver Impact needs to do. The only hope is if this game goes like 55 minutes. I think even then, I'm not even sure they win like at 55. Like their team comp isn't really set up to win at 55 minutes. This is a difficult game. I think best case scenario is that it goes 55 minutes and they don't really have something to stop the Jax in a side lane. That's maybe the win condition. You get like the perfect Aurelion Sol ultimate in a fight. That's probably your win condition in this one if you're Vancouver Impact, but the engage from Forever Forward is just so consistent. And they are going to be using this pressure to siege down the mid lane inhibitor turret. They will be able to get this relatively for free. We do see some backs on the top side, just some overextensions, and that mid inhibitor is going to drop as well. They're going to turn their attention immediately to I was going to say the bot lane inhibitor turret if Foles could push up, but the wave is not quite ready just yet. There are 4 in base against the 5 of Vancouver Impact. We could potentially be seeing them transition down to the bot side here. They were waiting for that wave to end up crashing. It's crashing now. Doesn't look like they're going to have the damage to be able to take this turret down, though. Foles going to take a bit of poke, but overall inconsequential. And this is looking eerily similar to a Baron push, with the exception of the fact that there is no Baron yet. God gonna get the pull here on Evil Eyes, and the Jarvan's gonna go down basically immediately into the fight. The turret will fall, and the Misfortune ultimate is absolutely ginormous. The Aurelion ult will hit quite a few, but the damage has already been done. Vancouver Impact will fall. It will be an ace for the side of Forever Forward. And in 24 minutes, a 16-3 game will go in favor of a dominating Forever Forward in game number 1. Wow. Big game 1. Big game 1 from Forever Forward. Really good looking stuff from them. They looked excellent in that game. Let's go here. Let's look at those numbers. 15k damage from Foles on Azir. 11k damage from God on Darius. Just a great game overall from Forever Forward. Top jungle and support looked amazing. I agree. I think everybody looked amazing that game. I think everybody looked great. I mean, God getting such a huge lead on the top side was very important for that game overall. Prince was spectacular. I agree that Love Ego played very well. Get that lo-fi back. Just a big game number 1 from Forever Forward. Again, about as good as you can draw it up. About as good as you could possibly ever draw that up. Foles had more damage than you thought. Yeah, that Azir was doing a lot. A lot of that was the trading in the mid lane. Or trading in side lanes. But he was doing a lot in those fights. He was doing a lot. Unfortunately, the hole was just quite large early, and I think when you draft this comp in particular, drafting around Jarvan, Caitlyn, Karma, you definitely need to be able to establish that pressure in prio early. And unfortunately for them, they weren't able to win early. The mid game was always going to be a bit of a weakness for them, but the ease of execution of a Wukong Nautilus engage is just very difficult to deal with. So credit to Forever Forward. They looked great in game 1. I'm going to step away for about 2 minutes, grab some water, use the bathroom, and I will be back in just a moment for game number 2 of this best of 3. Will Forever Forward be able to close it out in a 2-0 sweep? Or is Vancouver Impact going to be able to stay alive? We'll see in just a moment. See you guys soon. All right, we are back here. Really big game number 1 for Forever Forward. Really, really big game number 1 from them. That was always gonna be a big tone setter. And they definitely set the tone with that one. They definitely set the tone with that one. Do wish the bracket was updated in real time. See if it is. Maybe I'm trolling. Does look like to an extent it is. Yep. Looking for anything super interesting. Akuma taking down Oakland in game number 1. Chaotic taking down EMU. But let's not forget, the winner of this series today will be taking on Citadel later on, immediately after, basically. See if I can pull up... I need Oakland to go on a run. I want to see more of them. Yeah, Oakland was a blast to watch yesterday. That team was so fun. Their bot lane was mega legit. Bully U in particular looked awesome. I was really impressed with him. Unfortunately, they have like the most cursed run. They have like the most cursed draw in this bracket. They had to play Citadel in round number 1, and they have to play Akuma in round number 2. Let me switch over to screen. Akuma is Portia, Will, Sudsy, Draxer, and Jito. Like so brutal. They just have to play exclusively like top of tier 3 NACL caliber players. Definitely probably the toughest draw in the entire tournament, I would say. Like, of any team. Kind of brutal stuff. But looking at the bracket, and even, by the way, even if they won that, they'd have to play Titan, who's also really good. So, like, I agree, they're very solid. It's just unfortunate. But it is 1-0 in favor of Forever Forward. They do pick up the win in game number 1, and quite frankly, they do it in dominant fashion. I'm gonna move that over. Will Sudsy is not fun to run into round 2. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. That is it's a brutal having to play against Citadel in round 1, full of NACL winners and people like players who have played at the tier 2 level for a long time. A guy who in Armeo who's played in tier 1 the past 2 years, and then being like, well, at least we have lower bracket, and then running into that is crazy. It's super unlucky for Oakland. It's super unlucky. Like, I don't think they were expecting to qualify for NACL or anything, but, you know, maybe pick up a win or something. Maybe get close. All right, let's, we should be hopefully starting up lobby soon. Hopefully shouldn't be too long. They're likely drafting now. They drafted before making lobby last game. But we do not get a spectator link for this one. Any predictions for draft? 63 seed just won? Who is that? Who just ended up picking up a big win? Cubby. Team of Plats? Who'd they beat? Here, we able to check that out? Does this have the updated seeds? Is it potato tomato? Oh, did Prosperity lose? Or is it a different one? Is that sheet not updated correctly? I know we've got it somewhere. I can check out the Discord here. I know it's somewhere in here. That's crazy, though. That's the kind of upset we were looking for today. We were looking for something insane. We were looking for, like, just one of these random teams to turn out to be way, way better than we thought they would be. Some of these roads are way less even than others. And I honestly kind of say that as a positive. I think that that's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's potato tomato. That's crazy. No way, man. No way. That's the funniest thing that could have happened. For sure, that's the funniest thing that could have happened. Wow. Well, let's see. I mean, they've only got to do one more. And I can't imagine, like, the mental of losing to a team of Plats in a tournament like this. That's brutal. And that's relevant. That's relevant for Citadel because they play the winner of that part of the bracket. It will likely be flippers, but send them to first stand. Yeah, seed number 6. Potato tomato. I'm so upset. I was talking about this earlier. I'm so upset that the Legends are out. Because what a story that would have been to make a lower bracket run. If they win a single game, that's incredible. But I guess Potato Tomato heard that. They heard everybody talking about the Legends. They're like, hey, we're also Plat. We're also Plat. We can also go on a miracle lower bracket run. But for those of you who are just tuning in, we are about to get into game number 2 at some point here. I believe they're drafting now, but I'm not entirely sure. We will be getting into game number 2 shortly between Forever Forward and Vancouver Impact. Forever Forward took game number 1 in pretty dominant fashion. It was not particularly close. And the winner, of course, of this series moves on to face Citadel later on today in a best of 3. You know, I would say that obviously both of these are underdogs, and that is definitely still the case, but Forever Forward looked excellent in game number 1. A couple of players on there that I was excited to see. But in Fearless, there are a couple of things that are now off the board. Foles, obviously a very big Azir player, and that is now off the board after game number 1. I think the ease of execution is going to go down, just naturally. You can't get Wukong, Azir, Misfortune, Nautilus again. And if you're Vancouver Impact, you just have to hope and pray that the top lane matchup goes a little bit better than it did in game number 1, because it really, it did not go particularly well for them in game number 1. Down like 70 CS at 12 minutes into the game. The Jax was completely taken out of it. You need to be able to get a matchup that can be a little bit more survivable on the top side. Show me some hyper carry ADCs and I'm happy. I think we're definitely going to be moving in that direction. There are only so many AD carries that can play early. Misfortune and Caitlyn both off the board in Fearless after game number 1. I think the priority on a lot of things, like obviously Kai'Sa, we saw a lot yesterday. Zeri, I think it's going to go a lot higher throughout these series. The later these series go, I think those champions get better. There are less things that are quite as simple to just play against them. But there are still a lot of early game, champions that can do well in lane. We've really not seen a ton of Kalista at this tournament. I would have expected to see more of that champ, just because I think she's pretty easy to execute. But teams have definitely opted to go more for things like Kai'Sa and Ezreal, which make a lot of sense. Ezreal's another champion that is very much on the board. Corki is also on the board as an AD carry that we could be looking for. And if Corki mid gets picked, I'll go on my traditional rant about Corki mid. But hopefully it's not going to be too long from now. I'm still stunned. Sorry, Cubby came into chat and just dropped that a team of Plats and beat like an actual professional team. And took me aback. Took me aback a bit. But what other games are you guys looking forward to today? I already went over some of mine at the beginning of the day. I think that there are a couple of teams here. I think Titan versus Akuma, if that does end up happening, which right now it looks like it will. I believe Akuma won game number 1. Titan versus Akuma looks very scary for Titan. I think that that's one of the teams that ended up dropping from round 2 that I think could be in trouble here today. Because Akuma is a very good team. Full of very experienced players. I think I would love to see Potato Tomato go on to play flippers. Give them an extra best of 3. You know? Insane stuff. As for next weekend, I already talked about this a bit, but this part of the bracket is brutal. Like the top of this bracket is tough. And we did talk about how this qualified team here, they'll have earned it because they you have Near Airport, UCI, Respawn. Like Wings, Goblins, Ducky Getter, Slated 6, they're all good teams, but you also have Friendly Fellas, who just took down Citadel yesterday, YBN1, who is a team full of, like, super experienced players. I'm still a Will believer. I think he's NACL level. I think he definitely has NACL flashes. I think he definitely has NACL flashes. Like I didn't quite get an invite here for game number 2, but I should still be able to spectate off of friends list, I believe, as long as it's not as long as they didn't disable that. And if they did, that's that's unfortunate. I might take an hour-long stream break or something. Just hop off if they didn't invite me. I should still be able to spectate though, as long as they do. I'm still a Fake God LCS believer, so my track record isn't great. I think there's reason to have that. I think Fake God right now, in terms of just the trajectory, does kind of feel a little bit like a 4A player, if you will. A player who's going to be really good for tier 2 and who's going to consistently do really well, but just might not be able to hang with like the best top laners in the league on a consistent basis. I really hoped that wasn't going to be the case. I mean, anybody who follows a lot of the like actual edited content I do on YouTube knows that I've been a Fake God believer for a long time. But last year was not good. There were a lot of problems last year. But they are in Champ Select, at least in client. What do I think about Dr. Calc or Dragoon? I only saw them in last OQ, but nothing else besides that. I think they're both very good. I think Dragoon in particular is very solid. I think top lane's a very good position in North America. I think underratedly so. I don't hear a lot of people talking about top lane as one of the deeper positions, but mechanically, I think that there are a lot of really good top laners in North America. I think that if you can get a lot of these players that are so talented at, you know, pulling out a lot of these crazy picks to be a little bit more locked in terms of the macro and the mental part of the game, then I think like top lane could be the best role in North America. I think that there are so many good top laners. But I'm also like an AD carry defender in North America. I see a lot of people shoot down the idea that ADC is in a good spot in NA, and I just don't believe that. Or I do believe that. I think it is in a good spot. I think that there are more good AD carries than people talk about. I think we probably run like 11 or 12 deep in terms of like functionally good NACL AD carries. Do we know where UG and Young are going? I've not seen anything on them. I believe UG is starting for Dragonsteel again. As far as I'm aware, he's still on Dragonsteel. He will still be their jungler for the upcoming year. I think the only change to their roster from last year is Sajed coming in at AD carry for Scary Jerry. And then Young, I do not believe has a team. I know it looked like he was going to be playing with Wardens, with Dantes in this tournament. And I think he's been signed as like a sub in the GCD for Lion Gaming. But I think a lot of that was just the fear that maybe Saint wasn't going to be able to arrive on time. But right now it doesn't look like Young will be playing this year. Okay, Foles is in game. Let's see if we can spectate this. Yep, we can. All right. So we can't see draft, but we will be spectating. Let's switch over to this, I guess. Game 2 is going to be kicking off in just a second. Again, no thoughts on draft yet because I haven't seen it, but we will hopefully get it soon. But I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming in chat if you're interested in sending them. 5K man rocks on the left side. Yep, I'm actually the entire team. Did Romer quit trying to go tier 1? I think Romer went back to Korea, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if he has any plans to continue playing, but I do not believe he is in North America anymore. Cayman Rocks is my favorite team in the NACL. Yeah, you know, we do our best. We try. Romer's been on Korean solo queue for a bit. Yep, he's been doing well over there. I think he'll still probably do something over there, but I think he just wanted to go back. A lot of people do. All right, we're jumping in now. Should be jumping into game number 2. Looks like we're gonna have to switch these two around. Ooh. It pulled me to the other side. And we are loading in for game number 2. Of this series between Vancouver Impact and Forever Forward. Let's fix that just a little bit. Okay. Game number 2 here. And the drafts are interesting. So we got Gwen, Sejuani, Yone, Ezreal, Braum, and then Mbessa, Xinjiao, Syndra, Corki, and Alistair. We've got a level 1 5-man on the top side here. God is going to be able to get out here on the Mbessa, but it was a good look, I would say, overall. But they are just going to establish vision that's going to allow the opposite to happen on the other side, of course. Forever Forward will be able to get that bot side control. And then Vancouver will be able to get this top side control here. Sorry, I'm just putting the draft into my sheet, so I have it here.
Minions have spawned.
We'll see if we see any weird lane situations. Oh, I was looking for a second like we could be looking at a lane swap, but doesn't look like that's going to be coming down. Sejuani Yone, obviously very classic. I really like the idea of, as I always say on this channel, simplifying the process, just making the game easier to play out. I think that both of these teams have relatively easy to execute win conditions, at least off the bat, which is what you're looking for. You don't want to... We've seen so many games be winnable at 25 minutes, You want to make sure that you have the priority to be able to win. Oh, sorry. Not quite sure why it did that. Not entirely sure why it keeps flipping me over to the other desktop. But I hope that's not a problem for you guys. You guys saw the stream sheet, so if you want to go check out any of those other broadcasts, you can. But I think at first thought, I definitely see more early game necessity from red side. I think Mbessa looks strong in this game. I don't really see a lot of ways to kill her late if you don't have like a ridiculous amount of damage. And I do think that's kind of what I would probably be playing for. I like the Mbessa and the Gwen matchup. I think blue side scales better. I think they definitely have a stronger comp late game. Gwen Yone is just going to be able to terrorize the map, and I think you can play around split pushes if you want there, or you can team fight. I think your team fight's really good in that stage as well. Of course, Sejuani Yone really helps with that. But it's not like Syndra Corki are going to completely fall off or anything like that. I just think Xin Zhao versus Sejuani really changes the complexion of which team wants to go late here. We do see some trades in the mid lane. We do see a pretty decent trade on the top side here. All right. And now we are locked. We are ready to go. I should actually put up on the screen the scores. Let's see if I can do that here. Text. Don't mind that it's Ariel. You guys come here for the production value. It is currently 1-0 in favor of Forever Forward. I do believe I like Vancouver Impact's draft a little bit more, just like a tad bit more here in game number 2, though. All right, now everything's set up again. We do have a gank in the mid lane. Foles is going to have to flash out here on the Syndra. It will be flash for flash. Evil Eyes for Foles. The Sejuani for the Syndra flash. Could be repeat gank opportunity. Foles in a much more dangerous spot now with that low mobility champion in the mid lane. Luckily, no crazy action just yet. Vigo gonna go in, get a bit of a knock-up. He is gonna push back the Braum, but I doubt there's gonna be enough damage. The stun gonna come out. We do have Prince roaming down on the Xin Zhao. This could potentially be a fight that they are looking for. Looking to try to get that arcane shift forward, and they do get it out of Nimbus. Prince is roaming down. They're gonna be looking for the Ezreal. He has no more escape tool. The flash gonna come out. Love Ego getting very low, but the same thing can be said about Klawa, and that's going to be the Braum falling for first blood. A brilliant bait coming in from both Heretic and Love Ego, and it looks like we might be getting a trade gank on the top side. Evil Eyes is gonna be showing up, but Marco Pa getting very low early on in this exchange. The dash in is not going to hit for Evil Eyes. God's gonna get stunned up, but do they have the damage to be able to take him down? He's looking to try and turn, but a very well-played fight here by Marco Pa to stay out just in time, but God, not enough to be able to take him down on the top side. He's going to be able to survive, and we get a repeat gank from Prince on the bot side here. Love Ego still pretty low, but Prince is going to be tanking up that turret. They're going to get very, very low. It's going to be a one-for-one trade due to the dive, but the shutdown is going to be going over to the side of Vancouver with Nimbus grabbing that. Not the cleanest dive of all time there. Having to trade one for one, especially with a shutdown in play, is not ideal, but this Ezreal, even with the shutdown gold and the kill, is still pretty far behind now from Heretic on the Corki. And great job by God surviving on the top side here with the Mbessa as well. Prince has been very much accelerated on the Xin Zhao. We talked about how specifically these players, like basically everybody in the game, needed to play aggressive early. Sorry, I had to check something off stream for a second. Yeah, we talked about how Forever Forward needed to play aggressive early. We talked about how both of these teams really needed to be able to control the map. But Forever Forward in particular, I think they have less outs in the late game. Prince pathing back, Love Ego in behind. The third gank here on the bot lane. Gonna try to kite up into the river, but Foles is actually roaming down as well. This is a four-man play. The knockup is gonna come in onto Clara, the Braum. The stun gonna come out. The scatter the weak. They are going to have to flash in because it seems they miscalculated some of their damage, but that kill is going to come down. The Feats of Warfare are going to go over to the side of Forever Forward. Evil Eyes with a repeat gank on the top side. They're hoping it's going to be more successful than the first time, and it definitely will be. That will be a kill picked up by Marco Pa on the Gwen. It will be a 1-for-1 across the map, and it does very much feel like we have a split map circumstance. It feels like Vancouver is very happy to try to play for the top side here, whereas Forever Forward really want to try and get Heretic and that Corki ahead in the bot lane. They've also gotten Prince in a really great spot on the Xin Zhao, and that's obviously going to be very important moving forward. But another good roam from Foles in the mid lane. Heretic is going to hit level 6. Nimbus is only level 4, a 2-level disparity, a 20 CS lead at the current moment. That will obviously be shrunk here with Ezreal catching the wave under tower, but definitely a win on the bot side here for Forever Forward. And even with all of the attention put on the top side, it really is just a kill for the Gwen. CS is basically equalized, and I think the concern for me is that Mbessa should still be fine in this matchup. Love Ego is going to try and interrupt something from Evil Eyes here. It was, of course, a Void Grub's take for Vancouver. Mbessa playing really aggressive here, getting quite a bit of damage down on Marco Pa, but just going to disengage. Understands he has the safety of his Alistar behind him. Heretic just coming in to clear the wave. But already a much more bloody game than early on in game number 1. I think that could favor either team. No aggressive play made here by Love Ego. Just Foles going to be farming it out. We do have a pause. And it is a very short one. Luckily not too intrusive. But I think what I'm looking at here for the rest of this early game, now that Xin Zhao is very accelerated, now that he's in a really great spot in comparison. Oh, we have our classic Riot, buffering. We wait 1 second to catch back up to spectator delay. And we're back. Trades coming out in the mid lane. Magmore looking for some damage onto Foles, but what I was saying earlier, I think now that Xin Zhao is so accelerated, this early game and this mid game have to be very aggro from the side of Forever Forward. We do see the Mbessa ult coming out. Xin Zhao is going to be making a gank on the top side. Looks like it's not going to amount to too much here, though, as the directed camera doesn't even deem it important enough for us to be watching it. Just will be a ward clear from the side of Prince. That will be Mbessa ult for essentially nothing. It will be ghost popped on the side of Marco Pa, but nothing more. Magmore going to do a good job to dodge the scatter of the week. Going to get a nice trade in here, but Prince is also pathing mid lane, and now with no escape tools here, could potentially be looking for a gank mid. Again, a much more action-packed game. I think a lot of that has to do with how aggressive Prince has deemed to be on this Xin Zhao. He's in a really great spot. He had a phenomenal game number 1. I would have given him probably I probably would have given God on the top side my player of the game for game number 1, but Prince would have very much been in the conversation, and he has been absolutely active. And for all of that, oh, and Magmore just going to miss the Yone ultimate just barely off of the edge. He's going to get scattered out, and that will be Yone ultimate for nothing on the other side. Not the biggest cooldown to burn this early on into the game. It doesn't really feel like that's going to be super punishable. But what I was saying earlier, look at the top lane matchup. So much pressure and attention put into top lane by Evil Eyes early on this Sejuani. They tried to split the map vertically. They tried to play for topside for Vancouver. And yet we're sitting here with God not only not down in CS, but actually up 5 CS in a pretty decent spot. We have the full combo coming in here from Foles. Magmore going to get very low. He's going to have to flash out on the Yone to be able to survive. A very, very nice play for Foles, just taking some of that aggression from Magmore and throwing it back in his face, literally with the Syndra ultimate. Prince going to be backing here, and another really nice play from the mid laner of Forever Forward. He's had a really good series so far. He was excellent on the Azir in game number 1. He does complete his Blackfire Torch here. And everything seems to have equaled out. We are at the point in the game now where things are starting to become a little bit more ebb and flow. Oh, you're right. The lo-fi is still on. Great shout. Actually, great shout. Let me turn that off. I'm going to get copyright strike. There we go. Thank you. Shouldn't be too big of a problem for that short of a time. But we do see grubs spawning here. 3 grubs are already over to the side of Vancouver Impact. It was very calming. Yeah, I wish I could keep it on during the game, but I'm very worried about Twitch just silencing the part of the VOD where I'm commentating. That's probably the part that I want to make sure is not silenced when people are watching it back, but... Just some vision clearing here. Looks like the grubs are going to be pretty uncontested this game. I am very surprised by that. 4 already over to the side of Vancouver Impact. But as we saw in the last game, Forever Forward not afraid to just sacrifice one of the objectives. Last game it was Dragons. They were willing to give up the first 2 without really even trying to attempt to contest them because they did have a pretty strong presence on the top side of the map. They were willing to just say that you can have Dragons if we have all the Void Grubs. In this game, they're doing the opposite. They understand that they have full control over the bottom side of the map and that Dragons are theirs, and they don't even need to try and attempt to contest. Now, Foles could be in a rough position top lane. He is going to get hit by the Ezreal ultimate, but he will dodge Citadel. It's not going to be enough. Magmor going to land the Yone ultimate on top of him. He will fall to the 3-man, or the 2-man gank onto the top side. Will be a 1-for-0, and looks like a lot of that top lane pressure is still going to be in favor of Vancouver Impact. Love Ego going to show up here, but there's no teammates around. He could be in a little bit of a rough spot. He is going to push Clara under the tower. He will start tanking tower aggro, but Love Ego seems to be tanky enough. They're going to reset the dive at this point. We'll see who ends up taking tower aggro here. Love Ego getting very low. God has shown up. He will fall, but is there going to be a way to turn this around for the Ambessa? The ult comes down onto the Yone, onto Magmor. The teleport coming out as well. This could be a bad situation for Vancouver Impact. They recognize that, and they are going to attempt to escape. Foles going to try to chase them down, but I doubt he's going to be able to get there in time. Marco Pan now going on to Prince. We have action all over the map here as we hit this 13-minute mark, and a lot going on, but mostly in favor of Vancouver Impact. 2 free kills on the top side of the map. Very good stuff from them. That's what you want to see. That's how you want to see them get back into this game. The gold lead has basically completely neutralized. In fact, it's gone slightly in favor of Vancouver Impact in this one. And that's huge. Scatter going to come out from Foles. Magmor looking to try and play a little bit more aggro on the top side here. That tower is very close to falling. I'm sure they really want to get that first tower gold on the top side of the map, but it's actually going to be Forever Forward that's looking for a play on the bot side. Prince and Love Ego show up. Evil Eyes is here to cover Marco Pa. And the teleport is actually going to come down as well. Looks like they're going to invest quite a bit. Clara is here in that same vein. Prince is going to have to flash out. Outside of the Xin Zhao flash, nothing burned from either side. I should say the teleport for Magmor also coming in, but a very even game state, and I would personally say that favors Vancouver Impact in this particular instance. I think, obviously, having 2 dragons on Forever Forward side is very positive, but having 6 Void Grubs in favor of Impact is really big, and I think that their comp is just going to be a little bit better as this game continues to go further along. A lot of the gold being on Xin Zhao is not ideal for a late game. And Bessa ultimate immediately going to come out here onto Magmor. Bessa's going to try and punish this. Magmor's in a really rough spot. They're just going to sit onto the body double here. Magmor taking the tower shots. Is going to be taken down. The kill will go over to Love Ego. Magmor just a little bit too far forward. Gonna get caught out in that instance. A really nice Ambessa ultimate. The Sejuani ultimate will try and punish Foles, but it goes wide. He dodges it once again. He doesn't have the skills to be able to dodge some auto attacks coming in, though. The Gwen's gonna be able to take him down, shred him to pieces with her scissors, and it will be a 1-for-1 trade across the map. Blue team will also take that first tower on the top side. A lot of that gold going over to the Gwen. This Gwen's going to be a bit of a problem as we move further and further along into the late game, and Bessa is a big piece of why I believe this game is playable for Forever Forward, and I think if Gwen is going to be able to shred a lot of what Ambessa is doing, is, shred Xin Zhao in the back half of this game as well, shred the Alistair in the back half of this game, then I think we're really looking at a situation where things are favoring Vancouver Impact the longer this game goes. Despite that, we do still have a gold lead, like I said, on the side of Forever Forward. Almost all of that is going to be in the jungle. Although a lot of it's bot lane as well. Heretic just doing a better job at farming than Nimbus at the current moment on the Corki. Gwen had like 2k gold, sitting gold, yeah. Yeah, ends up buying that Rift Maker. Full boots. Ends up completing the bow. Yeah, Marco Pa's in a great position in this game on the Gwen. I would say that he is definitely the scariest threat right now on the side of Impact. Some pinks coming down. Looks like they are going to want to try and value this Rift Herald. I agree with this play on the top side here for Vancouver Impact. We'll see if Prince and if Forever Forward want to try and contest this. It looks like he might. He is posturing pretty aggressively, but it's going to be all 5 members of both teams here. We could be seeing a front-to-back team fight. Blue side will take down the Rift Herald. The Braum ult will be popped. Prince is going to be targeted first, but the Yone ultimate, he's going to go in. He's going to land on basically everybody. Let's see if the damage is there. Right now, it's not. The Braum's going to fall first. It's a 1-for-0, and in fact, it's actually Forever Forward who's dominating this fight. God goes God mode onto the Sejuani. The shutdown will come in favor of Prince, and things have fallen apart for Vancouver Impact. Just when it was looking so good, we get a 4-for-0 in favor of Forever Forward, and that gold lead has now ballooned, and the entire stage of the game has moved. We talked about how we thought Vancouver could scale incredibly well the further along this game went. They just needed to make sure they didn't have a catastrophically bad fight in that instance, but some really excellent plays made by Prince, made by God, and Heretic's damage coming in on the Corki just completely reset that 5v5 and really put Forever Forward back in the driver's seat in this game. Wow, great stuff. Forever Forward's playing so well. Prince is really good, and God is really good as well. I've been very impressed by the top jungle of Forever Forward so far today. I don't want to downplay what everybody else is doing. I think everybody else was awesome in that fight. I've just been specifically impressed by them. Do you see some pings coming down? Hex Dragon has spawned. The Herald will be dropped in the bot lane here to try and draw some pressure, but it looks like we might be lining up for yet another 5v5 already here at 3rd Dragon. See if the contest wants to come in. Impact scared to walk up, scared to feel like they can control this area. Dragon will be started, but it has no idea who to target. Yone will be driving that Herald and taking that bot tier 1. It will essentially be free. Magmor going to continue to push this wave, forcing Forever Forward to try and contest that bot wave, to try and catch that. The Dragon will be started. We see Love Ego taking the Hex Gate into the back. We see a trade going on in the bot lane, but we flash back to the Dragon here. It's down to 4,000 health. The ult's going to land onto the mid laner, falls onto the back line. The damage is going to come down, but Magmor just doesn't have enough to be able to survive. The Syndra ultimate coming in, and Foles is going to be able to survive on the back end of this fight. God just 1v2ing both Nimbus and his support. He's going to take down the Braum. The Sejuani will fall. The Ezreal will fall. The Gwen will be next. It's an ace in favor of Forever Forward, and if we thought this game was close, it is broken wide open in favor of the red side. What a fight for Forever Forward. We saw multiple ends of that spectrum end up being absolutely ginormous. Foles ends up surviving that fight just barely with Magmor going on top of him. He is able to live, is able to take down Magmor with that incredibly dangerous ultimate that he has. We see Mbessa basically 1v2ing the bot lane by herself on the back end of that fight, being able to take down the Braum. And then Prince doing a ton of damage on the Xin Zhao as well. The Corki really stepping up. Foles smurfed that so hard. Foles was incredible in that fight on the Syndra. Phenomenal positioning. And Forever Forward right now just looks like the better team. I'm not even blaming Vancouver Impact. I think they're making good plays. I just think Forever Forward has looked very good in these 5v5s. Ooh, I need some water after that one. That was a crazy fight. Marco Pa could potentially be in a bad spot here, and you know what? It's not potentially, although the damage is coming out, and he is going to trade 1-for-1. Foles will fall, but he will also pick up the kill. It's a 1-for-1 on the top side. Great job there by Marco Pa to be able to get something out of that play, but still a nice aggressive play coming in from Forever Forward. They understand they need to continue pushing this lead. They can't sit here and play passive. They want to be aggressive. Prince could potentially be looking here, but with the Rift Herald empowered recall from Magmor, he's not going to be able to get onto him. We are hitting the 20-minute mark, and you know what that means? It means it's Otacon time on the map. Has officially spawned. It will be bot side, and it is going to be Forever Forward that is immediately on it as per usual, as they did last game. They are going to prioritize it immediately as the spawn ends up happening. Prince and Heretic will be on it, and there is no contest. It looks like Vancouver's just going to try and push down mid lane. They're going to try and trade this for the tier 1 in the middle of the map, but Foles is here. He's going to be able to clear this wave. I don't think they're going to be able to get this. It's Ruinous Otacon going in favor of the red side and traded for absolutely nothing. Yeah, things are starting to get a bit out of control for Vancouver. The gold lead has ballooned. It's up to 6K. A little over 6K. And Forever Forward looking great. Obviously, you don't want to get ahead of yourself when it comes to games like this, but with Citadel waiting for the winner of this series, we could be seeing Forever Forward start to consider that, but Marco Pa, considering if he is in a bad spot at the moment as he gets picked off, Nimbus gets chunked out in the mid lane by Foles. Things are just falling apart for Vancouver Impact around the map. Marco Pa, once again, taken down by being a little too aggressive in a side lane. That bot lane push is going to continue to move. Corki has the push in the mid lane. We could be seeing some collapsing by Clara here. Love Ego is just going to bounce him out. I thought that we could be seeing the Braum be in a little bit of trouble with Prince in the area, with Heretic as well. In the area, we do see Vancouver playing rather aggressive here. The Ezreal is just slightly going to go wide. Magmore going to look for some free damage onto the Alistar. The stun's going to come up. It's actually going to be a stun CC chain, and Alistar's going to take quite a bit of damage. Heretic is going to take a tower shot, and might be seeing some over-aggression here from Forever Forward. Them definitely living up to their name. They are definitely playing very aggressive, but Foles, all of this time, just sitting there taking waves on the top side. He will be taking that top lane tier 1 for himself on the Syndra. Pings are coming down. Hextech Dragon spawning in about a minute 40. And that is a must-win fight for Vancouver. Giving over Hex Soul to a team this far ahead, specifically to the comp that they have to Corki, in the position that he's in, would be pretty disastrous for Vancouver. But the win conditions become difficult to predict. Now, I will say, it's not quite as dire as it was last game at this point. We were looking at a sub 24-minute game in game number 1, and that will not be the case here in game number 2. But it is still a very difficult game to project a victory for Vancouver in. Marco's Pa is in a decent spot on the Gwen. If he's able to get enough time to be able to shred that front line, you know, he could do some damage, but the problem is being able to survive the backline damage that's coming out from both Foles and Heretic on the side of Forever Forward. Clara, clearing vision. Heretic and Love Ego are stepping up. They do have some teammates around them. Just interested to see if Impact was going to look to try and collapse onto that. Dragon is the prize here. 11 seconds until the spawning of Dragon. And Bessa ultimate will be up in just a moment. Marco Pa also has ultimate on the top, or teleport, I should say, on the top side of this map. Posturing is coming in, but there's just no way that Vancouver can have priority here. It looks like they might potentially be getting chased down. Love Ego is going to take the Hex Gates. Magmore is actually going to ult to safety here, and that's basically forfeiting the Dragon. There's almost no way that you're going to be able to contest this fight without that Yone ultimate, although it looks like they are going to try. Dragon will be started, down to 6,000 health. God going to take the Hexgate onto the backline. He's onto Magmore, he's onto Nimbus, he's onto the 2 carries. 1v2ing by himself once again on the backside. The Dragon is going to drop to 2,000 health. It's going to get closer. The Sejuani ultimate comes out. The smite will land here from Prince. The damage is going to come out. The knockup coming in onto Evil Eyes. The Syndra ultimate will land. The Sejuani will fall. And Bessa not able to get the job done on the 1v2 on the backside, but there is more than enough damage and more than enough time was bought by that Mbessa on the back end of that fight to be able to create a situation where Forever Forward is able to, once again, not only gain that Hextech Soul, but win the fight in general. They continue to push to the bot side. They will grab this bot lane tier 2 turret, as we're going to try and thin that wave as much as possible, but we have to continuously talk about how much God is doing on the back half of these fights. Yes, he died in that team fight. Yes, that's, you know, not a perfect end scenario, but distracting both the Yone and the Ezreal so that you basically have a 4v3 against the tanks on the other side of this matchup just makes it so difficult for Vancouver to ever be able to play out these front-to-backs. Again, I think no Yone ultimate there was definitely a bit of a problem. But overall, we continue to see Forever Forward just playing really aggressive, living up to their name, living up to their status as the top seed in this matchup. It is a 9K gold lead now for them at 26 minutes. Baron is up, and that looks like it should be the prize next, but we do see a potential collapse coming in onto the bottom side. Xin Zhao and Bessa showing up. Syndra will be there as well. Magmor could be in a rough spot. He is stuck in the alcove. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get out of this. The ult will not be able to get him to safety. It will land onto Prince, and Bessa will be able to follow him. God is going to slay Magmor, but that's 3 on the bot side. That's going to be a Baron start here by Vancouver. It's going to be a 4v2. The Corki and the Alistar are going to attempt to try and play this out. The cleanse is going to have to be used on the Sejuani ultimate. Love Ego is in there by himself. He's going to take a while to die. In fact, he's actually going to flash out to his... He's going to live. Somehow, Foles is going to show up. Finally, Love Ego will die, but the damage has already been done. He survived for so long. I did not believe that was even possible. It's a triple kill going over to the side of Foles. The rest of the team ends up showing up. That's Baron going over to Forever Forward, and things just cannot go better for this Forever Forward team right now. How did that Alistar survive as long as he did in that fight? It was a fantastic cleanse by Heretic. A great flash as well to be able to survive the Sejuani ult, to be able to survive in general in that fight, but the lack of ability to burst down that Alistar was catastrophically bad. That'll be top lane tier 2, going down. And if things were already in control of Forever Forward, they are desperately in control of Forever Forward now. That's a 7-3-8 Syndra. That's a 3-0-13 Corki. That's a 7-1-9 Xin Zhao. Even the Mbessa has been an absolute nuisance, a menace to the entirety of Vancouver Impact in this game. How is there 3 bot and 3 top instantly? Quickness, moving fast. Boots upgrades. Oh, and it just looks like the Braum is going to be caught out in a rough position. Foles is dominating. They're going to take him out as they siege down the base here. The mid inhibitor will be the first one to fall. Looks like they're going to transition immediately down to that bot lane inhibitor as well. And this could be the push to end the game. Only 3 alive, I should say, with the Gwen dropping as well in the base. It's a 5v3, up so much gold. The Syndra damage is going to come out. The scatter is going to land. The ult coming out from Magmor is very nice, but Foles is going to go godlike with his damage. Prince will dominate by taking down the Sejuani. Nimbus will be the last one alive for Vancouver, and unfortunately, he will have to sit there and watch his base crumble as the Nexus is destroyed, as Forever Forward takes this series 2-0, and we'll move on to round number 2 to take on Citadel Gaming. Wow, Forever Forward looked awesome in that game, dude. They looked awesome in that game. They looked incredibly good. I don't get any stats, I guess, from from spectating. Forever Forward looking incredible. They get the 2-0. Let's turn the lo-fi back on. Forever Forward just looking like the better team, quite frankly. And credit to Vancouver Impact. You know, I'm glad they were in the tournament. Shift over to the bracket. Shout out to Vancouver Impact. They put up a really good fight, but it just wasn't enough to get past Forever Forward. Top or jungle player of the series? It's tough, man. Both of them were excellent. I think Foles has to be in the conversation as well. But Prince and God were excellent. God was definitely my player of the game for game 1. I don't know, man. Prince is probably my player of the game for game 2. I think Prince was excellent in that series. I probably would give it to Prince. I thought he played really well. His aggressive tendencies in that second game really did create a lot for the team. Just really great stuff overall. But God was excellent. I think Foles was really good. I don't want to disparage the bot lane at all. They played well. Just a great series for Forever Forward. Everybody on the team was doing their job. Everybody on the team was winning. Like, Heretic was up like 40 CS in that game. But we're going to see what it really means moving forward, because it's Citadel Gaming they have upcoming in their round 2 series. I'm going to take a quick break as we go into that round number 2, but stick around. Citadel Gaming will be taking on Forever Forward in a best of 3 to determine who will stay alive in this tournament. Stick around for that. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are as well. All right, we are back, and it's time for series number 2. We're 2 hours in. Time to get to the second series of the day. It's Citadel gaming time, everybody. This is what we have been waiting for. This is what we were waiting for. Oh, games have been good today. Forever Forward looked incredible in round number 1, but they've got a lot ahead of them. We do have an updated sheet for stats. See if we can get that open here. See if we can get that rolling here. I think Forward just had a rough first matchup. And now they have to play Citadel. Who did they play in round 1? We can check that out here. I know I looked at that earlier today, but I've already forgotten because of my peanut brain. You can check it out here. They played Pepe Lala, who has done really well. I think they're in round 3 right now, so. Where are they? They might not be on this sheet. Or I could just be missing. They're right here. Oh, yeah, they did have a rough matchup in round 1. They did have a bit of a... The team that beat Titan, yeah. Yeah. This team's actually good. It's a lot of players I am less familiar with, too, which is cool. It's good to see them doing well. But yeah, nice. I think this series should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we won't take too long to get into game here. Looks like they're practice moding. But do you guys have any other league questions? You guys were peppering me with some first stand questions earlier. You guys have any other ones? This is a perfect time to ask those in between games. Pull up the multis, by the way, for these teams. I guess we don't need them, right? What do I think SK should do? I've been thinking about this recently. I think it's tough. I mean, they've already made one change, right? Let me... Leaguepedia. I don't know why I can't type from this setup. Yeah, they made the KC trade. They grabbed Bukata. Isma going to K-Court Blue. I think it's a start. I like Isma. I think Isma in the right situation can look good, but I don't think Isma's like a star. I don't think he was the problem this split. I think he was probably their second best player. Behind Rahel. I do not think Isma was the problem at all. Yeah, I agree. I certainly don't think Isma was the problem. But I don't think Isma's like a solution player. Isma's not going to make the team better. Which I think could be a reason why you make that change. Obviously, the solo laners have to be better. Like, there's really no other way around it. If Reeker is that bad again this split, like, you just have to make a change. It reminds me so much of Seiken last year. Loopy and Reeker did not look good. I agree. They were awful. The Loopy one I've just been very... Like, it just... Like, I don't want to say that I saw it coming, but, like... I just don't really know what they saw. Like, obviously, it was off the advice of It was off the advice of Rahel, almost certainly. But Rahel and Luan were so good last year. And Loopy was fine in the LLA. It just didn't really feel like a change that needed to be made. Rahel and Luan have to hate each other or something? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's just Rahel. Rahel had so much success with Loopy on DK Challengers. And I think SK was like just a little bit away from being relevant last year. And so I think they took a look at that, or I think Rahel probably took a look at that and he was probably vouching for Loopy. And he was probably like, I would really like to play with Loopy if we can go and get him. And they could, and they did. But Loopy has not been good. He's been maybe the worst support in the league. Reeker has really struggled at the gate. Again, the Reeker, like Reeker reminds me so much of Seiken, where it's just, he's getting blasted and now he's lost all of his confidence and he's just playing so scared. It's not the exact same, because I think Reeker is at least still trying to do things. Like Seiken, I think, had a higher mechanical floor, but he just was playing as if he was the worst player in the league, like mentality-wise. He was giving over 20 CS leads basically for free every game. Whereas I think Reeker is just kind of losing. But I think Gen X has also not been good. You kind of expected Reeker to be at least okay. I also did. I thought his floor was decent. If only because it felt like he really wasn't all that different of a player from someone like Niski. Like, he was such a facilitator for BDS Academy last year. And I just don't think that that has been representative. I think the problem is I just don't know if he has, like, the raw mechanics to be able to survive in lane against, like, really good competition. I think that's unfortunately, like, the truth of it. But I would, like, if you're 10th, if you're 0-9 in spring and you're 10th again, I honestly I'm willing to just, like, pull the plug. Like, just, like, change everything. Like, new top, new mid, new support. Just, like, whole new team. That's what K-Corp did last year, and it really worked for them. They brought in Closer in the jungle, they brought in Kana in the top lane, they brought in Vladi in the mid lane. Like, they took a look at every position that was underperforming for them, and they immediately went out and got new players. You had been tempted to replace 4. I just think it's too... I'm pro not making gigantic changes this early. Like, they played 9 games. You know what I mean? It's just really hard to know whether or not that can get better after 9 games. That's my take, at least. That's always been my take. Yeah, I don't know. I think the LEC's in an interesting spot where it feels like every team that isn't top 4 is just kind of doomed. Like, even Giant X, who I think is okay, or BDS, who I think is okay. Oh, me. We could do the Luldle. That's another thing to do. Oh, that's right. It never loads on my computer. It's probably a VPN thing. I tricked you all. But there's still a lot to talk about. We can talk about some of the games that have already happened today. This bracket's starting to get updated. Kibuko's Brewery. United Swag Factory picking up a win. I thought Jackie's was gonna step a lot for them and take the minimum top 5. Yeah, Jackie's has had a rough 2025. I think that's the kindest way I can say it. like, if you follow the channel, you know, like, we talked about it all last year. The summer breakout really was like a summer breakout. He was really bad in spring. And he was very inconsistent in winter. Honestly, like, you can really compare a lot of his winter tape to someone like Kamalu this year. In terms of the good games look good and the bad games look really bad. And spring, it was just bad. Like, if Seiken wasn't there, I think he would have pretty clearly been the worst mid laner in the LEC in spring. And then everything just kind of clicked in summer, where he was just carrying games for them left and right. But I don't know how consistent that's going to look, you know? Like, I just don't know how good I feel about that being something that just keeps happening. But yeah, got some interesting matchups here. I still am interested to see if Oakland can pull out a game win against Takuma. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show the Battlefy. So, someone let me know if the Battlefy is public. Like, if you can access that on Twitter. I think that's probably the most updated bracket. We can still take a look at the unofficial match data. So we have some player stats here. Through a lot of the first couple of games. I would have loved to be able to just take a look at these separately, but... Red Sid's actually got a higher win rate right now, 50.4 to 49.6. I mean, it's, you know, statistically insignificant, but it's certainly something. I didn't realize that Near Report beat the Legends yesterday in 17 minutes. Why didn't anybody tell me that? That's hilarious. But a lot of familiar names at the top of a lot of these leaderboards. Like, kills per game right now is Instinct, who we are about to commentate. And that's because Citadel plays the bloodiest style that we've seen. I mean, we can see that bloodiest game yesterday. No pentakills yet is unfortunate. No pentakills is definitely unfortunate. Wardens are playing Rengar Ivern bot. Yeah, that tracks. that tracks heavily, actually. That's kind of what I would expect from that team. All right, hopefully it's not going to be too long on the start of round number 2 here. Yeah, a lot of the supports we saw yesterday, high in the KP per game category. Do we know how Meech did? Meech did really well yesterday. Their bot lane was absurdly good. Claritz and Meech were really dominant as a duo. That was one of the ones I was checking out. They did really well. Not that that's shocking. We can see the leaderboards for the rating system that Aegis has. They come up with their own rating system to kind of give overall examples for how these teams are doing. They need to be like top 1 in the tourney to even have a chance of top 3. Yeah, I mean, the bracket's brutal. Like, We were talking about this most of today. This part of the bracket, like this qualification spot right here, E1, is brutal. Like, near airport, respawn, friendly fellas, YBN1, they're all gonna be looking to get this spot. Like they would have to be better than near airport and respawn, or whoever ends up winning that series. Slated 6 and Ducky Getters are good. Like Wings Goblins are good. UCI is obviously good. We've talked about UCI so much over the past couple years. And then you look at this, like, E2, and no flame to E2. No flame to the bottom side of the bracket, but, like, Tempest Gaming is easily the best team on the bottom side of the bracket. They are definitely the favorites, I think, to get that bottom side qualification spot. We might be in draft here. Let me grab Fearless. Draft here. Sometimes I have to load it late. We are in draft. So we do have draft open. You guys should be able to see it. Is Manui on support been going well? I like that change a lot for him. I also love that change for him. I haven't gotten to watch a ton of those games yet, but I was really looking forward to that. I think Manui can be like a top tier support. It's gonna be Ori first pick. I believe that Citadel is blue side this game. So it will be Galio and Ash as the answer on the other side. The bans, by the way, Skarner, Azir, and Corki on red side, Xinjiao, Riven, and Syndra on blue side. We've got Varus and Rel rounding out the beginning of the draft here. So Orianna, Varus, Rel. No Callisto Prio at all. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier today, where I'm just shocked about how little Callisto Prio there has been, considering I think she works well at this level. But it's going to be the Kindred. Kindred Galio coming in for, I believe that's Forever Forward. I don't want to make too big of an assertion, but I believe that that is Forever Forward on the red side. Will be the Jace taken off the board first. Typing ASMR incoming. Will be the Darius taken away. We saw what God was able to do on the Darius in game number 1 earlier today. Absolutely decimated. So that makes a lot of sense. It will be the Cassante ban coming out second. So double banning out Philip here. Now, I don't want to read too much into this. Just based off of the draft. But that could signal a potential Galio top. If they wanted to do something like that. I don't think that that's going to be the case. But it's a possibility. Will be the Garen as the final ban. Looks like top laner's just being taken off the board. You just don't want to play against these guys. Garen, Darius, Cassante, Jace. Too much. Tanks galore. That's the message I'm kind of getting right now. We see the Thresh hover. See if it ends up getting locked. It does. Will be the Thresh. Locked in here. Thresh Ash. Classic bot lane on the other side here for Forever Forward. It's 2016 all over again. I could probably even go earlier than that for that. 2014. Will be the Wukong lock here. Wukong Orianna, very classic. You want one of those team fight oriented junglers coming in. Either the Nocturne or the Orianna make a lot of sense to be able to prioritize in these games. Then it will be the Ambessa to round out the draft. All of those top lane bans and Ambessa left up is certainly funny. If I am to be believed, I assume that once this gets locked in and once I update my spreadsheet, it's going to put me on the other desktop, so pardon me for a second. The number is stopped. I believe that that is a Yone lock. And that is exactly what it did. It put me on the other desktop. Let's get back. Every time I watch Wukong, it just looks so strong. Yeah, Wukong's a really versatile pick. All right, so we've got our drafts. Is that Yone top or is it Galio top? Was I kind of based? in shouting out Galio top. Was I on point with that one? Because that certainly makes things a lot more interesting. Could also just be Yone top as the answer to Mbessa. I think Yone is fine into Mbessa. I think Galio's better into Mbessa, but I think Yone struggles even more into Orianna. So it's all really just up to what you kind of want to do here. Either way, I actually think that the win condition for Forever Forward this game is probably getting Kindred in a really good spot. Like, I don't want to call this... Again, I hate overusing the term, like, Protect comp. We are in draft here on the other thing, so let's switch over here. I don't want to just call everything a Protect comp, because that just feels lazy. But, I feel like when you draft, like, Galio, Thresh, Ashe, like, you're playing for jungle here. You're playing for Kindred. And, I do think that that's interesting. It is, by the way, it is Citadel on blue side this game. It is the Yone top. So it is going to be Yone top. We see that as they draft an order here. So it will be God on the Yone. We've seen him play so aggro across today that it makes so much more sense to see him on Yone than to see him on Galio. After last series, I'm so fine with them playing towards Prince. Yeah, Prince was excellent in their first series of the day. And the Kindred is going to be a little bit scary this game, if you can get the Kindred accelerated. I think Yone could also be a bit of a scary problem the later this game goes, but I don't think there is like a ginormous draft gap here. I think Orianna is in a really good spot to be very scary the later this game goes. But this is a very straightforward teamfight comp from Citadel. This is what was winning for them yesterday. Like, these are the things that you took, like, when I was taking away, I guess, takeaways in general from yesterday for Citadel, it was definitely simplify the process, get back to these teamfight, front-to-back comps that allow you to win 5v5 later on, because a lot of the negative plays that we saw coming out from Citadel, they were in the back half of these games in these 5v5s on comps that are a little bit more, like, finicky to execute. You know, things like Jax Aurora that just take a little bit more precision, a little bit more... Like, I'm not saying that it's like, oh, they don't have the talent to do so. Just like, you know, they can be a little bit more up in the air. They're not as straightforward to just close out a game with as Wukong Orianna Varus ends up being. I really like just saying we're probably going to win in the early and in the mid game because we're really good. Like, all of our players are really good in lane. Let's just pick something that, with our gold lead, is just go in, press all our buttons. Like, I like that idea a lot for them. But we are now just waiting. They will be getting into game in about 9 seconds. We will have that 3-minute spectator delay in client. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. What are your thoughts on the drafts? Let me know your thoughts. I think mid-game skirmishes are going to matter a lot, as they have for basically every Citadel game over the course of the last couple of days. But Bradley needs to keep his hot streak going. Bradley was excellent yesterday. One of the best mid laners in the entire tournament. If not the best mid laner in the entire tournament. I think you could definitely make that argument. Really, I think it's just between like him and Shochi. I guess Pobelter is also in the tournament, but... Bradley's unbelievably good. I think if he's going to be able to get his like trademark 40 CS lead like he got basically all of yesterday, that's going to be pretty bad for Forever Forward in this game. Like, both comps have options in the late game. I want to make that like clear. It's not like one is just going to instantly outscale another, or that one is like way like stronger if perfectly executed, but I think Citadel's better overall, but I like how Forever Forward are drafting. Yeah, I agree. I think Forever Forward is definitely playing around spiking late. It's what they've been doing the past couple of games, and they've been winning early anyways, and that's, I think, why they've had the confidence to do so, which is kind of what I've been pushing for on this channel, on these streams, is like, in this tournament, at this level, play for late game. Like, no lead is safe at this level. We saw that perfectly well yesterday with Citadel in both Game 1 against Oakland and Game 1 against the Fellas. So, no lead is perfectly safe. But yeah, I agree. I think Citadel's draft is better. I don't think it's by a lot, though. Again, like, I think that there is a world where Kindred just gets really strong here and you can play through Kindred and just not really have any way to deal with all of that damage. Because Kindred has so much protection here. I mean, the Galio, the Thresh. I think top matters a lot for this series. Yeah, I think God was excellent in that previous series. Philip has shown a propensity to be a little bit more flippy in lane. Looks like we're getting in. Let's go ahead and move to the end game. Oh, and let's, okay, so you're gone, you're in, and you are on blue side, which I think will be somewhere around here. You are at 0 wins. Let me set this up. Let me go text. Not 10, 0. Perfect. All right, and let's set up in game. I also got to turn off the lo-fi. Well, let's get you guys situated first. We do have some posturing, level 1.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
So I turn off the lo-fi. Couldn't even really hear it over game music. But here we go. It's game number 1. Citadel Gaming taking on Forever Forward. We did see some level 1s yesterday out of Citadel. They actually went for a level 1 that they got caught by against Oakland in their series against the Fellas. Trying to death push around that bot side. Will be a little bit of a late invade here, but nothing to find for the Forever Forward team. Just gonna back out. Looks like it's gonna be a pretty standard start for both of these junglers. A red buff open for both. And we will have normal lanes this game, so no lane swaps. Don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I know it feels like I call it out a lot, but you kind of have to. But I agree. I think top lane is going to matter quite a bit across this series, just from an individual player perspective. I think this top lane matchup in particular is a little bit tougher for Mbessa than maybe we would have seen last game. I think Yone is just going to have a little bit more prio early, especially because Kindred, I think, really does like to gank top. But a lot of damage coming out from Yone. That's why you see that on R5 as an answer. But like I said, I think the most important piece here for Citadel is definitely going to be Bradley in the mid lane on this Orianna. Trevor potentially looking for something here. Not going to find it. Just going to disengage. Levy goes... Hook is going to go wide on the Thresh. But it really is one of those games where I will start to worry a bit more about Forever Forward's comp in general once I start to see the Kindred get behind. There's really not that many consistent damage dealers outside of Kindred and Yone here. Obviously, Galio and Ashe can do a lot. But I think if you're relying on Ashe to be your number 1 option in some of these team fights in terms of damage, you know, Varus, Orianna, Wukong might just be able to outdo that a bit, especially with an Mbessa being able to dive the backline. And Philip is definitely not afraid of looking for flank angles in a lot of instances, so. We will see. So far, everything relatively neutral. Bradley with a small lead, to be expected in this Orianna matchup. Once again, Bradley has been unbelievable in lane so far in particular. His lane stats have looked really, really great. Why did every Yone just suddenly stop building crit items and go for Bork into Stride? I would think Yuntal would just be way too gold efficient. Yeah, I think it just depends on your matchup for the most part. I think most of the time it's just not really what you're looking for out of Yone in particular. I think having that side lane pressure is just really relevant on the champion. But it's also personal preference on how you want to play. Philip taking a tower shot there. God gonna look to try and engage here with the Yone. Not gonna be able to get a ton down. In fact, he's actually losing this trade in terms of the health bars, but getting Philip low is a good thing overall. That could be in a little bit of a tricky spot here. The shield has been propped. Nothing to capitalize on, though. We do see both junglers pathing to opposite ends. Bradley continues his assault of the Galio in the mid lane. Currently up 9 CS. Teleports coming in from both top laners onto the top side of the map. Unfortunately for the Galio, you pick this champion to enable the Kindred later on into the game. It's going to be a little bit tough in the laning phase for Fulls to have the same kind of impact that maybe he had in the previous series, where he was really good. We actually do see a little bit of an exchange here. The cleanse going to come out from Instinct on the Thresh hook, but not much more than that. God going to look to try and make a trade on the top side, but nice to get the cleanse out of the Varus early on. That's going to be very good with Ashe and Thresh on the other side. If Ashe can hit level 6 quick enough, that could be something they could potentially look to capitalize on. Got some pings in topside jungle. Wukong's pathing has been understood. But a small gold lead here for Citadel, mostly off the back of Bradley in the mid lane, once again just having a CS lead. Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but he's very good at this. He is very good at having very good laning stats. Mid laners have hit level 6. Could be something we're looking at. A lot of damage coming out from Bradley in these exchanges. That full combo from Orianna can do quite a lot. And in fact, the Galio could be in a bit of danger if things continue that way. Kindred will be starting up here on the Dragon as we get some pings on the top side for our Mayo on the Void Grubs. Just looks like a pretty classic trade of objectives here early on in the game. A little bit surprised to see the priority for both of these teams. I would have thought it would be opposite. I would have thought that Citadel would probably favor and prioritize Dragon a bit more. And that Forever Forward would probably prioritize those Void Grubs a bit more, but it will just be a trade here, I believe. And 0-0 at 6 minutes is very un-Citadel-esque from their yesterday games. It's not something we've gotten particularly comfortable with when we talk about this team. They are so dangerous, they're so bloody, and they're so willing to risk a lot of these trades. 1v1 or 2v2, specifically, Philip and Trevor have been very aggressive in the early game for basically every game that they've played so far here. There'll just be a wave crashing down on the bot side for Instinct to be able to pick up. Both bot lanes will reset after this. Mayo pathing down to the bot side. I think this delayed game state does favor both teams. Both teams definitely spike a lot more in the late game than they do in the early game. Don't think you're necessarily looking at one completely being able to dominate the other, but I think with Bradley's gold lead in the mid lane, that's definitely something that has to be factored in towards the scaling overall. God. Looking for something. Both gonna try and trade here. But again, just back and forth stuff. Wanting to freeze this wave as long as possible. Prince is gonna make his way to the top side, but is gonna get spotted on that ward in Tribush. Instinct has hit level 6. His cleanse is not back up yet. We do see the ult drop onto the Varus. The dodge of the hook coming in from the Thresh. Trevor is here. The Ignite's been dropped. The Thresh is going to fall first. First Blood's going to go over to the side of Trevor. Heretic's going to flash in to attempt to execute Instinct, but he's not going to get it. The damage is going to come out. Or is he going to be able to step up and take him down? Heretic's doing a ton of damage to Trevor. He's actually going to be able to pull one back in favor of Forever Forward, and it's a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, but First Blood is going to go over to the side of Citadel. A pretty interesting back and forth that really looked like it should have been a 1-2v2, but just not enough damage coming out. That Ashe ends up being a really big problem. The ult ends up landing Love Ego maybe with a little bit over-eager of an engage on the other side. It was really well punished by Instinct with the ultimate and then Trevor with the follow-up, but just not enough. Still a 1k gold lead, though, to go in favor. That first blood obviously gifting quite a bit more over to the side of Citadel, as well as this gigantic and growing mid lane CS lead in favor of Bradley. You know, we talked about it pregame. This guy has just effortlessly been able to get these absolutely massive CS leads. It's been a huge problem for every team that they played into, and that's why I thought this Orianna game could be really positive. He is doing even better than you could anticipate. Of course, the Spectre's Cowl and the Bomby Cinder being finished by Foles on the other side, but Bradley looking excellent. Once again, do you see a trade here? God getting very low. Philip in a pretty decent spot here. God looking to try and get out of this one. Is going to go for the ultimate, and it is going to land. It looked like it might have missed, but the Mbessa ult is going to match. One of them is going to fall, and it will be God on the Yone. Philip with the solo kill. On the top side, we see Prince attempting to make a play on the bot side, but Trevor just going to use his dash to be able to get out of there. He will be safe, but it's yet another nice play going over to the side of Citadel with a solo kill on the top side for Philip on this Mbessa. Yone needs to be able to win this matchup early in order to stay as relevant as he needs to be, and right now Philip is doing a fantastic job of being able to show that he is one of, if not the best top laner in the entire tournament. This gold lead is definitely getting a bit out of control. You definitely need to start stemming the bleeding. You don't want to be down 2k gold at 10 minutes, especially off of the back of a 2-1 game. This next dragon, I think, is going to be pretty crucial towards what ends up happening for a lot of the rest of this game. We do also see a gold lead in the jungle. Armeo is slightly ahead of Prince in terms of his pathing and his pacing. Void Grubs are spawning again. Dragon will be up in 1 minute. We will see where the priorities end up lying. Right now, Wukong is pathing down to the bot side. Heretic is in a little bit of a rough position, but it looks like he's going to try and turn this onto Instinct. He realizes he's stuck in a pretty bad spot. Trevor going to be able to get his AD carry out of it, but is it going to be enough damage to be able to take down the Ashe? It will be. The flash has to come out, but we have the rest of Citadel collapsing down onto the bot lane now. Love Ego is in a bad spot. Bradley will pick up the kill. The priority will be on the dragon. It will be once again traded for Void Grubs, but it will be 3 for 3 in that respect for both sides, and it does feel like, once again, Citadel just coming out on top in terms of the plays that are being made around the map. Nice stuff here. Really, really nice stuff here from Citadel. God pushing in. Pings on Dragon are starting. I would be very worried about contesting this if I was Forever Forward. I wouldn't have a ton of confidence that I'd be able to win this exchange with how things have gone so far. Heretic has been playing quite well on the Ashe. He does feel very comfortable on this champion, but, you know, there are some concerns. Now, the one problem, I think, for Citadel is a lot of that gold is on Trevor on the Rel. Dragon will be started here by Forever Forward. Foles is going to attempt to try and zone them out, but will be pushed out a bit by Armeo. Dragon down to 2,000. We'll see if this ends up being a contest at all. Prince is sticking around, but the Varus poke coming out is just a little bit too much. We see a full engage on the top side as all of this is going down. The Dragon is going to go over to the side of Citadel. No fight will happen there, but there will be a fight on the top side as God with a really nice trade onto Philip, pulling back some pressure in that lane, and the CS difference? The CS difference that had happened on the top side, the CS differential between these two, has basically equalized. God has done a really good job getting back into this laning phase on the Yone. But Dragon going over to Citadel. That stops the stacking over on the side of Forever Forward. Definitely is a positive overall. Love Ego gonna look for something in the mid lane, but Bradley spacing him particularly well. Tower plate will fall here. Instinct and Trevor getting very strong. But like I was saying earlier, Trevor having a lot of this gold is certainly not an ideal circumstance for this team. I think he's done a good job at being able to salvage a lot of these plays with Instinct getting very low, with Heretic doing a great job of attempting to punish Instinct if he does step up for something aggressive. But unfortunately, because of that, their combat power might not be as high as you would expect. Bradley walking up is just going to get Ashe ulted, and immediately we get a pause. I can't imagine what this pause would be for, but it's a very funny time to get a pause. Bradley is in a very precarious position with Heretic and Love Ego in the mid lane. We will see if he's going to be able to get out of it. Hopefully it does not last too long. The unpause is coming out. Top IRL issue, so we are fine. It is getting unpaused. Bradley is definitely going to have a couple of seconds to think about how he can get himself out of this situation. Should be resuming any second now. But Bradley definitely stepping a little bit farther forward than maybe he wanted to be. And he is going to be in a rough spot here. Damage is going to come out. The shield's going to come through. They don't seem to have the damage. Armeo is actually here to potentially try and punish, but the Lantern will bring Heretic to safety. It's, at the end of the day, an ult for an ult. Bradley ultimate dropped. Heretic ultimate dropped. And nothing outside of that. Ashe also did pop Ghost. Worth noting, but no kill will be secured. Bradley's still at half health, and he will actually be staying in the lane here. Oh, we have our traditional, slightly delayed pause buffer there. Again, just more trading. This has very quietly become like a 2.5k gold lead for Citadel. Their mid games have been exceptionally good. They're able to take these small gold leads and translate them into large leads very regularly. Even in the games that they lost against Oakland and against the Friendly Fellas, they definitely were still able to use those mid games to be able to expound their positions. Vision control coming in from both sides. More trading coming in. Philip. Not a lot to play for. Again, nothing up on the map just yet. We will be seeing Rift Herald spawn very shortly. About 1.5 minutes on that spawn timer. Trevor potentially going to be looking here, but just going to drop a ward. We are starting to hit level 11s across the board. Level 11 Galio plus Kindred could potentially be something that they are looking for. That Forever Forward is looking for, that is. In terms of an aggressive play somewhere on the map. The Kindred has felt largely inactive so far. The poke coming out from Instinct is exceptional with that Youmuu's completed. We got a lot of pressure coming down into the top side. Prince will be hovering. I would be shocked if this turned into a fight, though. The Mark will spawn as Crab. Looks like Wukong will be making a beeline towards that to dissuade that from Kindred. And Prince looks like he understands and recognizes that he's probably not allowed to grab that one. And we'll be backing here. Bradley gonna pop the cone. Eat the plant. And once again, the game state has equalized out. This is definitely the most passive game we've seen from Citadel throughout the entirety of this tournament. Perhaps they understand that, you know, they don't want to be going into these 5v5s unprepared. They want to be in positions where they're not just giving free resources over to the enemy. But that 2.5 gold lead remains in favor of Citadel. Herald has spawned here at 16 minutes. We will see if either team wants to prioritize that on spawn. We do see both Prince and Armeo potentially pathing up into that area. We see some pings coming down from Citadel. And it looks like it will be matched from the side of Forever Forward. Armeo potentially in a spot here. He's going to block the Ashe ultimate with the clone, but the damage coming out from the Yone. The ult is not going to land. The hook will also not land. He's going to continue to try to get out of this with the ultimate. He's going to have to flash, but he is going to be able to make it out. Everything burned by the Wukong, and quite frankly, a lot burned on the side of Forever Forward as well. We could potentially be seeing a re-engage here. A teleport coming in from Bradley. Love Ego is going to try and get his jungler out of this situation, but the Kindred's going to have to drop the ultimate. He's in the middle of the enemy team. The Mbessa ultimate's going to come out, and it's going to combo up with Trevor, and that is a fantastic engage. Prince will fall, and everybody else will as well for Forever Forward. An unbelievable duo engage coming in there from both Philip and Trevor to be able to completely stun lock the enemy team. That's going to be an ace on the side of Citadel Gaming, and that's going to put them firmly in control of the rest of this game. These are the kinds of fights that we got super used to out of Citadel yesterday, where these mid-game fights around these objectives in these close quarters are almost always going their way. Their 5v5s around major objectives late game might be a little bit more up in the air. They might overstep at times, but when you give them the opportunity to be able to take over a game like this, they really can do it. Go Citadel, go. I agree. Go Citadel, go. They are definitely looking good here today. 9-1 currently. That gold lead is even larger, and so much of that is in the exact place that you would want it. The Orianna has a gigantic gold lead. The Ambessa is in a really phenomenal spot for Philip on the top side. And things are starting to look dire for Forever Forward. It is not looking good for them at the moment. In Instinct, we believe. Yes, Instinct has been excellent this game. Heretic has actually done a pretty good job of being able to pull back some resources, but it is looking all Citadel here in game number 1 right now. We've seen them have leads before. Nothing is entirely safe. Prince is going to jump over the wall. It could potentially be a dangerous spot for him, but the aggressive positioning of Forever Forward might actually catch out Trevor, who is going to get stunned up by the Ashe ultimate. He's going to land a 3-man ult of his own, and the shockwave is going to come down and hit absolutely everybody. The damage is ginormous. Instinct is there to follow up. Philip is going to be able to match. It's a triple kill for Instinct and a massive play for Citadel. What an unbelievable play by Trevor and Bradley to be able to combo those ultimates. That Ori ult damage indeed. Bradley's ultimate was ginormous in that fight. He completely changes the complexion, and now God might be a little bit overextended. Luckily, the Yone is going to be able to get back to safety. But wow, that fight looked like it was a good one for Forever Forward for that small second. And yet, here we are. Citadel able to turn it around. And it all comes back to Bradley, who has continued to play fantastic throughout this entire tournament. A phenomenal shockwave. Trevor with a great engage to set that up. It looked like he was caught out, but being able to rel ult in the middle of 4 and be able to catch them all out to set perfectly up for that shockwave was absolutely ginormous. Philip on the back end. Instinct being able to do a ton of damage there. Everybody looking good. Ball up top indeed, Maddie. Ball up top. That was a picture-perfect fight for Citadel. Prince, looks like they could try and collapse on Philip here, but there are teammates nearby. Philip's going to be very difficult to take down quickly. It's going to be 3 here for the side of Citadel, and I don't think this is a fight that Forever Forward want. Love Ego is going to be the first one to go down. Trevor's going to find that secondary engage. Armeo is there. Bradley is there for the damage. The rest of these are going to be chased down. Heretic is not going to be able to survive this. Too much damage coming in from the Wukong. It's a double kill for Armeo. Bradley is not going to be able to pick up the kill just quite yet onto God, but unfortunately, the E will bring him to his certain demise. Foles might be in a tough position now. He's stunned up, but he is quite tanky. Will be the dive under tower from Armeo, but nothing to grab there. Another fantastic fight. And this game that was looking so quiet, so calm, so collected from both of these teams for so long up until that 16-minute mark has completely blown wide open. 17-2 in favor of Citadel. A 1k gold lead. Foles gets dangerously close to dying. He actually is going to die to the tick of Ignite from Trevor. And it's just yet another kill over to the side of Citadel. Everything is going right for this team right now. You couldn't possibly ask for more. Armeo will be taking the Rift Herald. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, they have looked exceptional here. I believe we just saw Ashe Arrow in the mid lane. Do not believe it ended up landing on a priority target. 18-2. Not too shabby for Citadel. And remember, Forever Forward looked excellent in round number 1. We commentated that entire series on this channel. He looked, like the entire Forever Forward team looked very good. God, Prince, and Foles were very, very solid in that matchup. And unfortunately, it does feel like Citadel is a bit of a different challenge right now for them. But really great stuff from Citadel. This is where they excelled yesterday as well. These mid games. Their problem yesterday was definitely team fighting in the back half of these games. But Otacon will be started up. This is a dangerously large 11k gold lead. Grabbing Otacon here will certainly make things a lot more difficult. But there really is no way to contest this. This is going to be a free objective over to the side of Citadel. And they just continue to grow their lead astronomically. It will be Voracious as well. Foles is waiting in this bush. He's going to get spotted out. Going to hit the knockup. Philip going to take a bit of damage. Try and get the taunt in, but it's not going to land on anybody. The root's going to come down, and the damage is going to be there. There are 4 top lane. They want this tower. They are willing to push for it, and they're not just going to get the tower. They're going to get Foles' life as well. Looks like they might continue to push. The Rift Herald going to get dropped here. The rest of the team has arrived for Forever Forward. The Cleanse going to get popped by Instinct. Herald will crash into the tower. The Ash Arrow going to come out. The Yone ultimate as well. We could be looking at a potentially nice fight for Forever Forward. The hook is going to land on Armeo. The knockups are going to come through, but not enough damage to be able to capitalize. Nobody falling yet, but we could be seeing something. Love Ego not going to land that hook. The Shockwave going to come in. A lot of damage coming down, and he's going to fall. Bradley going to be able to pick up the kill on the Thresh God, getting dangerously low on the back half of this fight, but it looks like Citadel is going to take that 1 kill, going to take damage on that inhibitor turret top lane, and they are going to be able to get out of there. Bradley continues to look incredibly good on this Orianna. He's been the best player in this entire game, and that has continued. He is really, really important towards what this team is doing, and that is very reflective. Was looking a little bit dicey there for Citadel for a small second, but they were able to pull it out in the end. That gold lead is ballooned now up to 12K at 23 minutes. One errant team fight could be the end of everything. We do see Armeo starting up on drag here. That would be 3rd Drake for Citadel Gaming. And I just don't really see an avenue for Forever Forward to get back into this game. It's going to be very difficult for them to win any sort of exchange. Their team fight is not particularly better. We talked about how important the Kindred damage in particular was, and the Kindred's really not in that dominant of a spot. Do see Philip potentially getting collapsed upon here. We see Love Ego and God, but Instinct is also here. Trevor's actually flanking on the backside. The Relot's going to come in. Ash Arrow will be able to land, but will it be enough to be able to keep everybody alive? Philip is no longer a part of the fight. The damage, not as much there. Trevor going to be the one trying to frontline. Instinct not going to be able to break through. There won't be any kills exchanged, but a lot of resources used from both sides. We'll see if that ends up impacting the rest of this exchange, but overall, still a good situation for Citadel. God gonna continue to try and get back into this game. He's done a pretty decent job of keeping up with Philip in terms of CS, but the goal difference is just too astronomical in terms of the plays that Philip has been able to make around the map, the kills and assists that he's been able to gather. And at 25 minutes, we now start the Baron dance. Maddie's in chat, so we can officially call it the Maddie Socials Baron buff power play once again if we do end up landing it. But the Baron dance has begun. All 5 members of Citadel have gathered here. Galio still in the bot lane. Does have both ultimate and teleport. Looks like they might be trying to look for a fight early on here. Armeo gonna pop the ultimate on Love Ego. This Thresh is getting low. The Ignite will be dropped. Instinct will go godlike. That's the Thresh immediately taken down, and that could be a free start on the Baron here. It will be. Philip and Armeo going to look for it. Trevor going to continue to try and zone, but I just don't really see a way for Forever Forward to be able to get in here. The Ash Arrow going to be errant. The Varus ultimate is going to land, but the Yone ult will be able to get him out of there. Foles is going to grab at least something on the bottom side of the map for this. They will trade the Baron for that bot lane tier 2. That is, of course, an objective bounty in favor of Forever Forward, but the Maddie Socials Baron buff power play is officially here. Bradley going to walk in. It's actually going to be the Orianna finding the Kindred, and this is a 1v1 that I'm not sure Bradley would love to take. There are quite a few members here for Forever Forward, but unfortunately, Prince doesn't have the damage to actually walk up on his own, so he has to play really safe. Bradley gets the chance to be able to walk out. I feel like I have to take a drink every time I get Baron. True. Very true. Yeah, that's your responsibility now. A very funny little interaction there between Galio, Justice punching out with Thresh Lantern. Gotta love those funny little interactions. But this has just been a beautiful game from Citadel. You can't really ask for anything more. They've been very calm and collected. Not really any sort of mistakes. Oh, Heretic might have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. He has to burn Flash to get back to the safety of his own base, but he will survive. That poke damage coming out from Varus, though, making it very difficult for the Ashe to really be able to do anything here. Justice Punch not going to land. Tower's getting dangerously low. The Ash Arrow will actually land onto Philip here on the bot side. He's going to trade ultimates. He's going to try to get on top of Heretic, but he won't be able to. Philip is going to be the first one to fall. It is a 4v5. Now Trevor is in the middle of the enemy team. He's going to land ultimates on some. The roots are going to come up, and the shockwave is going to be huge. Once again, the Kindred ult will be dropped to keep Foles alive for now. Yone is in the fight. The Galio heroic entrance has matched, but Kindred will fall. That's a ton of damage for Forever Forward. Armeo in the middle of the enemy team. Foles will drop on the Galio. The inhibitors are wide open, and that is likely going to be your lot. Only one alive for Forever Forward now. God on the top side here with the Yone. I don't think he will survive for much longer. The stun comes in. The damage comes out. It's an ace for Bradley. It's an ace for Citadel, and it's a game 1 win for Citadel in this best of 3. Awesome game 1, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome game 1. Scoreboard is nice. We take that win. We take that win. We take that win. 31,000 damage from Instinct, 25,000 from Bradley. I have to give Bradley my player of the game on that one. Instinct was also exceptional. Like, the damage coming from the back of those team fights was huge, but Bradley's shockwaves were ginormous throughout that game. Trevor was also really excellent on the rel. Yeah, really great stuff. We start up the lo-fi again. All right, who is everybody's player of the game? Who we pointing out? Who we giving a big thumbs up to? Type that in chat. I'm gonna take a quick break, and I will be back in like 2 minutes. Knowing Citadel, we get into these games fast. Maddie says Trevor. Yuji didn't watch the game, but Philip goated for real. True. Completely agree. His only death was him just running into the enemy team. Shout out Yuji. Welcome to chat. Last fight was starting to look not great for Citadel, but the Ori ult just owned them. Yeah, Bradley was unbelievable in this game. All right, I'm going to take a quick break before we jump into game number 2. Enjoy the lo-fi, and I will be right back. All right, we are back. We are back. Getting ready for game number 2. 1-0 Citadel. How we feeling, everybody, about game number 1? I'm feeling pretty good. That was a very good game number 1, we'll just say. A very good game number 1. Let's move that over here. Was game 1 a boom or a doom? Now that one I give 5 big booms. Psycho. That game I give 5 big booms. That was a dominant game number 1 from Citadel. Never been the biggest fan of Ori in drafts, but my lord, did he make it look amazing. Bradley was unreal that game. Yeah, he just completely gapped. He was up 50 CS and just perma 4-man ulting in every team fight. But Bradley's been unbelievable this whole tournament so far. He's like actually been the best player at the tournament. We're seeing regular 50, 60 CS leads. All right, we are in draft for game 2. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick. I should be able to see it here. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So we've got Azir and Xin Zhao banned. Jace, Aurora, Skarner. Any predictions for draft for Forever Forward? I think what they did really well in their first series today against Vancouver was I hate to keep saying this phrase, but simplify the process. Like, obviously, there are a lot of things that are out here that would do that. Things like Orianna and Wukong are very good at just making games very easy to win because you just have such a straightforward comp to be able to execute on. But they're on blue side now, so they really have the opportunity to pick like whatever they're looking for. We will get a good idea. Corki is going to be the first pick here. Forever Forward is on blue side for game number 2. That will be reflected in game. And it actually will be the Kalista. We will finally get some Kalista here at this tournament. We've been talking on stream all day about how surprising it was that the Kalista prio was so low. And it will be the Kalista for Instinct in game number 2. We'll be pairing that up potentially with an early Maokai here. That looks to be the case. It will be Maokai, probably for Armeo. I guess theoretically it could be for Trevor. It could even be for Philip on the top side, but it doesn't feel like a very Philip pick to me. Ooh, that is a spicy hover. You don't want to talk about hovers too early, but that is definitely a spicy hover on the Karthus. And it will be locked. It's going to be Karthus coming in for Forever Forward. Another game where Prince is going to be given a lot of damage responsibility. It will be the Cassante to match. Prince was excellent earlier today against Vancouver Impact. But he's definitely going to have to do a lot in this game as the Karthus. And the identities of these drafts are very much already starting to reveal themselves. Looks like it will be the Gnar for Philip on the top side. Not shocking to see that prioritized. Gnar has been a pretty consistent answer to things like Cassante throughout the entirety of the year in basically every region. Phillips Gnar is also very good. It will be the Poppy taken away first in the second rotation of bans. Potentially the Nautilus. Yeah, just taking away a lot of these Callista supports. There is one more obvious one left up. I would say there are a couple that are very good with Callista outside of the Nautilus, but the famous Callista lane is still very much available to be taken if that's the direction that Citadel would like to go on red side. It's actually going to be the Nasus taken away as the next BAM. Very intriguing to see both Poppy and Nasus taken away. Clearly they are a bit afraid of what could be coming out of this support position. And it looks like it will be the Mel as the final ban to take that away from Bradley. Mel is an interesting champion. I think Mel could be very strong in the context of a tournament like this. We've not seen her be particularly successful in pro globally. In comp. But she definitely does a lot of damage. That is for sure. And in the hands of someone like Bradley, who's had such a good series, I can definitely see taking that away. But it will be the Talia. Any draft that picks Talia is immediately a one draft, in my opinion. Anybody who follows my edited content on my YouTube channel knows that I have been pounding the table for Talia for quite a while. Couple of early game hovers here for AD carries on the Forever Forward side. We saw the Misfortune, we saw the Caitlyn. Could definitely be either of those to go and contest the Callista. Draven is obviously the more classic early game contest type of champion, but Caitlyn fills a very similar role. I would likely expect them to pair it with something a lot more aggressive as a poke support, but you never know. Maybe they want to go for something a bit more defensive like this Braum hover at the current moment. And it will be the Braum. It will actually be the Braum. So that rounds out the draft for Forever Forward. We will compare the two drafts, obviously, at the end here. My computer is going to flash over to the stream list once Oh, that is a crazy hover. That is a crazy hover, and it's going to be a crazy Senna lock here. Let's get back over here. It's been doing that all day, and I'm not sure why. But that is a crazy lock. That is Senna support coming in here for Trevor. And that is interesting. Callista Senna is going to be the bot lane duo of choice. Again, I really like the straightforwardness of the Citadel draft. I think you put yourself in a position where it's very easy to see how they end up, winning a lot of these fights, especially in the mid game. I think the Senna actually is really nice here. I think it does a lot of good things for both drafts. What is blue cooking? Yeah, it's an interesting one. Hey, I mean, if they get to 35 minutes, it's Karthus Corki Caitlyn. You've got frontline for him. Like, I guess that's the idea, right? Even if it is a bit of a crazy idea. I definitely like Citadel's draft a little bit more here. Definitely just a tad bit more. All right, we are getting into the actual in-game draft. Let me move this back over. There you go. But yeah, I think that the draft is definitely crazy. The Karthus shocked me early on in this draft. Corki mid is obviously something I'm not the biggest fan of. I've been very vocal about that on my channel. I think specifically because things like Talia exist for you to just completely outpressure in the mid lane. I think Callista Senna is a very scary duo proposition in the bot side of the map. And Gnar has always been a very good pick into Cassante. We're seeing that very regularly across competitive everywhere. So I really like Citadel's draft in this game. I think it offers a ton of options. Once again, I will showcase this once we're in game, but Citadel is on red side. They are up 1-0 in this series going into game number 2. But just a lot of agency, I would say, on the side of Citadel in this draft. It's very odd that you see a team with Caitlyn not really have any way to pressure early. But I do think that that is kind of the case for Forever Forward in this one. I will say their poke is good. Their poke is very good, I would argue. And I guess that could be something they can play around. But for the most part, you kind of have to play from ahead in that case. Will be the regular bans, but yeah, I do generally agree with what Chad is saying that Citadel definitely has a much more cohesive draft. But let me know, who are you guys looking for? No, the Caitlyn, no, indeed, indeed. But we've got about 3 minutes here. So, if Citadel loses this, that will be a very big doom. Yeah, it wouldn't be ideal. I will say, I like Citadel draft a lot. I agree, I like Citadel's draft quite a lot as well. Their late game isn't great. And that has kind of been the case. 5 champs you think are very strong. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just draft like good champions and just hope it works out. And your engage is really good in the back half of this game. You have plenty of ways to start and initiate fights through the Gnar or the Maokai. Plenty of ways to control a lot of the game. But Citadel's issue yesterday was closing out games in general. Winning 5v5s in the back half. They just couldn't really do it, even with gigantic gold leads. And this is a comp that I think could struggle to have enough damage as the game goes on. Like, there is way more damage on the side of Forever Forward. But they have to get there. Like, and that's going to be the problem, is I just don't really know how this team ever gets there. But either way, it should be fun. It's game number 2. Game number 1 was very in favor of Citadel. I think that draft was also very in favor of Citadel. I think they've done a much better job of drafting in this series. Forever Forward needs to be ahead to play mid game at all, and they just won't be. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. You need to be able to hold position to fight around objectives. Because your poke is really good. Like, Caitlyn, Corki, Karthus, your poke's really good. You can, really hold area well, I think, with the Braum. The issue is just that requires you being in a good position with gold. And that's going to be really important. This is one of the few Caitlyn matchups that I think she just doesn't win. Like, she can't actually do much in. I was a bit surprised by the Caitlyn. Not an ounce of engage. You're right. Like, the engage here is Braumel, which is not engage. Or Cassante flank. Someone randomly stepping on a Caitlyn trap. If Forever Forward are going to win this game, it's going to be through sieging down objectives. Because I really just don't see a way for them to be able to go toe-to-toe in fights. But like I said, a lot more damage on the side of Forever Forward. There really isn't that much damage on the side of Citadel. Braum being the best engage on your team is kind of sad, but maybe that they just smurf early game or get super late into game. Yeah, I mean, those are the two conditions, right? If they actually end up winning early, then they can probably play the way that their draft wants to play. Even if I don't think that that will happen. Like, if they do actively get a gold lead, then they can do a lot of the things that they have drafted to do. And I also think that you get 40 minutes into this game, I think they're in a better spot there, because Karthus just chunks everybody for half at the start of every fight. And, like, Corki and Caitlyn can clean that up pretty easily. But I think any time in the middle of that is really difficult for them. Like, genuinely any time. Especially before Caitlyn hits, like 3 or 4 items into the game. Like, 2 items for these 2 comps, it's unplayable for Forever Forward. All right. We're jumping in. Let me mute Lo-Fi. Actually remember to do it the first time this game. And we are in game. We're going to have to switch these logos around. You're over here now. And you are over here now. And it is this the right one? Yes, 1-0. In favor of Citadel. Okay. All right. Here we go. There we go.
30 seconds.
Game number 2. Forever Forward taking on Citadel Gaming. It is 1-0 in favor of Citadel. Bit of a death bush, but they will not be finding anybody on the top side of the map here. Same thing for the other side. Forever Forward will be attempting to look for something in the middle of the map. It doesn't look like they're going to find it. Again, not expecting a ton level 1 from either of these teams. Trevor and Instinct gonna make their way down. We will likely see regular lanes this game, which would make it 4 for 4 with no lane swaps. Always good to see. Trevor is gonna get a ward down, which is ginormous here. Does get vision on exactly what they need to see. Prince will be starting the blue buff here. Maokai will likely be splitting vertically. Some damage coming down early on in this lane. I imagine it's going to be pretty hectic between these two. I would be a little bit surprised if it was as passive as the early game in game number 1. Neither of these teams really just want to AFK go late. I think both of them really need to establish pressure early. And so I would very much be surprised if the game state was anything close to what we saw in that first game where we're sitting at 0-0 at 8 minutes. I just don't really see that being the case with these two drafts. At least I certainly don't hope that that would be the case with these two drafts. I think both teams recognize that they probably need to be making plays early. Karthus is going to be going to his topside camps here. It looks like he will actually find Maokai on his wolves. We'll see if that ends up mattering. Again, some trades going down into the bot side. He's pinging that he is on his way. Junglers will be running into each other. Romeo will be able to get the wolves and get out, though. We hit level 3. Will be an engage here by the Corki. Armeo's going to get rather low. He's actually getting very, very low. He's just barely going to be able to get out of there as we pan down here to the bot lane. Bradley will be able to assist him in being able to get him to escape. Prince going to continue to try to do as much damage as possible here with the Karthus, and the Corki damage is coming out as well. Bradley also getting dangerously low, but we continue to see some fights down here on the bot side. Both members of the middle of the map will survive for Citadel. No kills going over, but certainly not a perfect exchange for either Armeo or Bradley. Trevor and Instinct continuing to push up in this lane. Good trade here coming in from God. He's had quite a few of these today. Foal's actually taking quite a bit of damage now from the Talia. She is very low on mana, but we are seeing a gank on the bot side. Prince is going to make his presence known here with Instinct and Trevor, but the Root is going to capture both of them, and we'll make it out to safety. Basically nothing burned on the side. I say that, but both heal and flash burned by Instinct and Trevor. Love Ego also grabbing his flash as well. Corki will have to teleport back into the middle of the map here. A lot of damage coming down from that Caitlyn. Definitely cannot get caught stepping on one of those Caitlyn traps at any point. Trevor getting poked out. Again, I would imagine that the Kalista Senna is pretty solid in this lane phase in the 2v2. Any sort of jungle intervention would definitely push that over the top. But Prince, once again, looking to try to make something out of this bot lane matchup. Bradley and Foles trading a little bit in the mid lane. Arthas making his way down. Instinct getting low. The root is going to land, but the stun will also land. Instinct going to have to pop barrier, but is it going to be enough? No, it will not be. It's first blood going over to Heretic and going over to that Caitlyn. Prince very active in the bot lane here, and he gets his intended goal, but as he walks up, he does not realize that the tree has arrived. He's getting low. Maokai is going to be able to put some damage out, but Trevor not going to be able to finish off the Karthus. Just a little bit of poke coming down here. No kill going to be acquired. It's still 1-0 in favor of Forever Forward, but we will have a pause. Top lag is being called in chat. And for the entirety of this pause, I believe we are going to have the Scryers for the entire pause, we're going to have the Scryers noise on in the background. Hope you guys like that. Hope you guys are into that. But that was a great gank from Prince. Really well played there by both Heretic and Love Ego to be able to grab that first blood onto the Caitlyn. We talked about how important it was to make sure that they ended up being aggressive and winning out in the early game. It's not the end-all, be-all to be able to pick up that first blood onto Instinct, but to no sums on the Kalista, really nice place to be. This is great for bot lane winning is what they need. This is great for them. This is the direction they need to go in. I think this is step one in the process. Obviously, he's up 12 CS as well. Nice place to be, but Bradley winning in the middle of the map is going to have a lot more priority moving around mid lane than anybody else. You have Philip winning on the top side in the Nara and Cassante matchup. The gold lead is still relatively even, and we do eventually get out of that pause. God is going to immediately take a trade here onto Philip. Going to be looking at trying to punish that Gnar as much as possible. But Gnar's going to be able to pull back quite a bit here from Poke. God continuing to push forward. We do have our standard out of pause little break that we get. Shout out. Shout out to the Riot client. I believe it is spectator delay in that front. But truly it could be anything. And that trade is going to go nowhere. Wasn't even looking at top CS diff. Yeah. It's very much in favor of Philip at the current moment. He's going to hit level 6 significantly before, or at least a little bit before. Mega Gnar is going to be popped. No engage to happen there. Maokai will be pathing to the top side. Same thing with Karthus here. Both could be looking at Void Grubs, which will be spawning in 7 seconds. Dragon is up, but it does not seem to be a priority for either team. Grubs have spawned. I would imagine this is the priority here for Citadel in particular. Maokai will be making his way there. Karthus still just farming. Another okay trade on the top side for both of these top laners. Gets the knockback, but the poke is going to come out. The 3-hit passive will come in, and the damage will exist there for Philip. Nice job by God to buffer it with the shield, but only so much you can do with that Gnar poking you down. Again, the CS lead continues to grow on the top side. Gold is basically even, but Void Grubs are going to go over to Citadel. Dragon will be started up by Prince. Looks like that's going to be the priority here. They have translated down to the Dragon, and it looks like they will get this for free. It doesn't look like Maokai or Talia will be able to get here in time. It's just going to be a trade of objectives, as we've seen in basically every game today. Whichever team has prio is able to grab those Void Grubs, and the other is not. The ult to come out to clear the way for Philip. And it will be a second tower plate for Philip as well. He is up 30 CS and 2 tower plates. This is a very strong Gnar on the top side of the map. We will see if that ends up being something. Not the best start for Citadel. I think this is okay for them. Bad trade here for Instinct. He's still level 5 and is now almost entirely chunked out. Any sort of pressure coming in will be problematic. I think a lot of the gold on Forever Forward is in places that can be salvaged. Pretty much all of it is going to be on that Caitlyn, who will not be as effective in the mid game. Philip 1v9, it's certainly looking like it could be that. Philip is in a really great spot in this game right now. We say as he takes another trade with God on the top side. He's actually getting pretty low, but should still be fine. The longer these fights go, the better it is, I would think. Is he going to go Mega in time? The Karthus ultimate's going to come out, and Prince is going to be able to take him down with that Karthus ultimate. He was in such a good spot, and he just continued to play a little bit too aggressive. He ends up flashing at the end of that to try and escape the Cassante damage, but it's not enough. The Karthus will be able to take him down, and that's a big mistake coming in from Philip. What's immortal to a God? Indeed, God with a brilliant play on the top side on the Cassante to be able to pull back some of those resources. He's made a couple of great plays today. We were covering the first series for Forever Forward against Vancouver Impact, and God was very, very good in that series. Trevor going to be walking up here. He's going to just walk into melee range and get stunned and rooted, and he's going to go down. A very, very interesting play there from Trevor. Quirky flash in the mid lane on something, but he is very low. Caitlyn ult gonna come out. The barrier will have to be popped by instinct. Prince taking a bit of damage here. Bradley still asserting dominance in the mid lane. He's been absolutely phenomenal today. The Sen ult is gonna come out to give the shield to instinct on this potential dive. Trevor is also here. He's gonna get ulted in. Isn't gonna be able to land it. The ult was just a little bit short. Another trade for God and Philip on the top side here, but even with that kill over to Prince, still don't know if Philip's in that bad of a spot on the top side. He just needs to not get caught out too much. Trevor once again getting face checked there. Unfortunately, they death pushed him. Armeo is here though. They could potentially look to turn this. The teleport's gonna come down as well. The Maokai ultimate's gonna come in. They could potentially be way too far forward. The Callista damage is gonna try to come out, but immediately Bradley will be TPing onto a Caitlyn trap. Love Ego is getting very low, but Bradley getting chunked out by the Caitlyn. The flip on the Talia is not going to land, and Foles has made his way down. The Corki is going to be putting out a bunch of damage, but he could actually be the one in danger here. Armeo going to go in, going to have to flash out, but the Corki is dangerously low. Bradley flashes in. He picks up the double kill here on both Prince and on Foles in the mid lane, and a fight that looked very, very close for both sides ends up going in favor of Citadel Gaming. Bradley really playing that just about as well as he possibly could. Very, very close fight. Very, very close fight. But that's big. That's very big. Bradley is once again in a dominant spot. Foles is a very good player, but Bradley has just been better than everybody that he's been playing against here today. And once again, he's going to be the gold maestro, we'll just say, for Citadel in the middle of the map. More action coming down. Gold is basically even across both sides at 100 gold lead for Forever Forward. Void Grubs are up. That will be the next priority. Forever Forward is going to be there first. It will specifically be Prince, who's going to take that first Void Grub. We'll see if they even want to try and contest this. They are rotating, but they might be too late to this. Only one Grub is going to remain. Arthas will be here. Bradley ult's going to come down, but will he be in time? A lot of damage chunking out, but the flip is going to land onto the Karthus. Are they going to be able to take him down? Not quite yet. Heretic is going to get rooted by the Senna. The Senna ult comes out. Armeo going to slay Prince, and we have a solo kill. Philip taking down Foles on the Corki. Philip continues to show that that gold is going to use. And that fourth Void Grub will be going in favor of Citadel, and the fight will also be a 2-for-0 in favor of Citadel. Another close fight, another very back and forth fight with both teams looking good at certain times, but Citadel just barely coming out on top. These mid-game skirmishes, this is exactly where they were able to get their advantages yesterday, the last round. And this is exactly what this comp wants to do. Bradley just barely missed timing the flip there. The seismic shove. looked away for a second. Well, you missed, yeah, you missed quite a bit of action going on. Citadel has definitely put themselves in a better spot. Armeo potentially getting chased down here, but he's got his team to protect him. Could potentially be seeing an overcommit here from Forever Forward. It's actually going to be the Maokai ult coming down. Brahm's going to get rooted up. Damage going to come in, but he blocked so much of it with that shield. Senna still here. Bradley making his way down. Philip with a gigantic Gnar ultimate. The knockup's going to come in onto the Caitlyn. The bot lane will fall. 2 remain, and I think they're going to get chased down here. Trevor's going to get that knockup through the Kalista ultimate. It's a double kill for Instinct. A 3-for-0 in favor of Citadel, and they've taken full control of the mid game here. Everything you could ask for. The dragon is now theirs as well. It will be their second of the game. This is the exact part of the game they were supposed to really take over, and they're doing exactly that. Really, really nice plays from Citadel. Really great ultimate from Philip on the Gnar. Dragon will fall. God is here. He's going to try and ult Philip. He's going to try and take him down. I don't think he knows that he is in the midst of 3 team members. He's just going to fall. We've seen some interesting plays this game, but Philip going to pick up the kill onto God. It's just even more gold going into the pocket of Citadel. Pianteo, how are you doing? Psycho exclusively hate watches. It's the only language he knows. Bradley potentially caught out here, a little bit too far forward, taking some tower shots. He's gonna get really low, but so is Foles. Gonna have to play a lot safer here. Bradley, though, not gonna be able to get his way out of this one unless something miraculous happens. It does not. The shutdown is gonna go over to Prince. Trevor is here to potentially try and pull something back. Armeo as well. We could be seeing a re-engage. A flash is possible. The root's gonna come down. The ultimate's gonna come down as well. Armeo gonna drop ult. Is it gonna be blocked? It will be, but both of them are dangerously low. Armeo going to slay Prince off the back of that tick of burn. It's a 1-for-1 on the top side. Bradley with Magi's at 13 minutes. What a Chad. Yeah, he's earned it with how he's played across both today and yesterday. Man, taking a bit of damage, but doesn't look like God's going to be able to punish that. Recovering from the KC 3-0. G2's drafts were so whack. I haven't watched the series yet. I saw the result, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to get into it. There goes the stacks, indeed. Honestly, you caster cursed them. Not me this time. The teleport is gonna be able to get that Gnar out of there. Sorry, I was just taking a little recovery drink of water. We've had a lot of action in the past couple of minutes. It's translated to about a 1k gold lead here for Citadel. Armeo, also potentially going to be caught here, is going to take the Blast Cone out, but there is a lot of damage coming in. The Caitlyn ult's going to come out. That's going to be a lot. Foles is going to flash forward. The Karthus ultimate will drop. Will it be enough to take down the Maokai? It will not. So many things burned on the side of Forever Forward to try and get that Maokai, and they are unsuccessful. Talia will be ulting to try and salvage this turret. It's going to get immediately rooted up. The Cassante is going to ult. Bradley's by himself here. The Talia might have bitten off more than she can chew. Is going to have to burn that shield on the Archangels. Foles is getting very low, though, and Bradley's going to be able to take him down in a solo kill. And I say he bit off more than he could chew, but he knew what bite he was taking. It's a 1v2 double kill for Bradley, and he is right back into controlling this game. That's 5 kills for Talia. Bradley has been absolutely unreal today, and he continues to showcase that he is just as good, if not better, than everybody else in this tournament. Bradley looks awesome, man. That is really sick. That's really sick stuff. Trevor and Instinct continuing to pressure mid lane. They are 2v3 here. They don't want to play too aggro. Corki ends up TPing bot. He indeed got his stacks back, yes. Love Ego gets rooted, but not much to capitalize on there. More poke coming out, but the 3k gold lead has been amassed here by Citadel. We talked about how they needed to really take advantage of their comp in the mid game, take advantage of the lack of mid game in particular that Forever Forward ended up drafting for. And this is the problem that we were talking about in the pregame, where Forever Forward don't have a ton of answers in terms of playing from behind. They really need control of a lot of these objective fights in order to play the game that they want. They need to be able to control the zone and poke out before any of these fights start. That's just not going to happen if you're not in a particularly good spot. Otacon is going to spawn top lane. They're going to disengage with ultimate top. Trevor potentially by himself, but Bradley is in the area as well. This could be a very dangerous spot. It's a double root coming in from Trevor. Instinct and Bradley both collapsing. Love Ego is going to dash over. Doesn't look like there's going to be enough follow-up, but a nice look there from Citadel. Rift Herald will be dropped in the mid lane. Dragon is spawning in 4 seconds. Rift Herald will now crash. In fact, they will be sticking around to see it crash. Not going to use that as tempo to get pressure. The tower will stay up. Dragon will be the priority. Maokai and Talia will make their way there. But we will see Citadel attempt to continue to pressure mid lane as well. Level 11 now on the Kalista. Trevor with some fancy footwork. Dodging everything from both Heretic and Love Ego. Drake goes down. That is the second Drake over to Citadel. They will continue their Drake stacking. It doesn't look like that's going to be a priority in terms of a win condition in this game, but certainly could be something. Trevor now potentially caught out, but Instinct is here to salvage the situation, should be able to save him, and in fact, it might be Heretic that's in a dangerous position. He's taking so much damage. The Senna ultimate's going to come out. Not going to be enough, but Philip is making his way in. The teleport from God. Top laners will match in the mid lane. And we continue to see the pace of the game wait around these big objectives. You see Rift Herald up in 5. Otacon is spawning now. Or Baron up in 5. Not Rift Herald. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. What do I know? I'm just the guy talking about the game. Instinct is going to keep cutting out God. Armeo's making his way here. The ultimate's going to come down. Bradley's going to trap them in, and they're all in a really bad spot. Taking over the wall could be a bit of a problem for the Talia, but the damage is going to be coming out. It's actually Philip who's stunned up and taken down. The shutdown goes over to the side of Foles, goes to the Corki. It's a 1-for-0 for now, but we could potentially be seeing a re-engage from Citadel. They're still in an okay spot. No ultimates to fully engage, but the seismic shift is going to come in. The damage coming out from Instinct. Sorry, I was so taken aback. A beautiful ultimate coming in from Instinct to save Trevor. Really good fight from the Kalista overall. Armeo goes for the smite. Prince is locked down. He's going to go down quickly, but the damage will still be coming out from the Karthus, and everybody on Citadel is walking out of this fight with minuscule health bars. Foles looking to chase him down. I don't think he's going to have the pressure, but Otacon is certainly not on the table. Armeo stopping to get a rose along the way. Stopping smelling the roses. But a crazy fight kind of ends in a pretty neutral game state, I would say, overall. Or a pretty neutral fight for both of these teams at the very least. Philip going to make his way in with the teleport. Heretic potentially in a spot here, but Philip might have over-aggressed. He's going to take a lot of damage. It's going to be both Foles and Heretic attacking him, but Foles once again charging into his demise. I've seen that a couple of times here. Philip ends up going Mega, getting that extra boost to the health bar. But all of this for pressure on Otacon that we still have yet to see. God trying to death push Instinct here, but Instinct definitely a little bit wiser. God gonna get rooted up here by the Senna. The damage is coming down. The execute's gonna be very short here. We're gonna see if he's gonna be able to get it. He's not. The Senna ultimate drops. Not gonna be enough to take anybody down just yet. The Instinct health bar is quite low. Bradley on the back of this fight, looking for a potential ult angle to cut them off. We'll see if he pulls the trigger. Maokai has shown up as well. The Talia ultimate will come down. The tower will fall. They are trapped inside. Are they going to be able to escape? God's health bar is getting very, very low. The stun coming down on Prince on that Karthus. It will be a double kill early on in this fight. The Karthus and the Braum dropping, and that's full priority on Otacon over to Citadel. Very clean, very calculated fight coming in from them. Nice fight for Citadel there. Ooh. And Otacon will be the prize for that one engage there. Once again, I think Citadel just understands that they're in the position where they can really dictate the exact pacing of this game. They know that the Maokai plus the Talia really creates this awkward situation for the enemy team, for Forever Forward. Otacon will be ruinous, and it will go over to the side of Citadel here. And it's actually Forever Forward who's going to walk up and attempt to try and contest maybe some of these roses. God's going to get dangerously low. Foles is also below half health. The Karthus ultimate will come out to try and salvage this fight. Instinct going to ult Trevor to save him from the damage. God's going to go in, but he will be shut down. The Corki will fall as well. That's a 2 for 0, and Otacon in favor of Citadel. We'll see if Heretic steps up here. He is getting very low, getting poked out by the Talia. The barrier going to come down, just barely going to save his life, and it's actually Instinct who falls first, but I think he will be the only one who ends up falling. I say that as Armeo gets chunked out here by Heretic, and it's actually Armeo who's going to be falling second. The end of these fights have not been clean at all. Prince is going to clean it up for Trevor, and a fight that looked like it should have been a free win for Citadel ends up going in favor of Forever Forward. Not entirely sure how that ended up happening. Question marks coming in from Psycho in chat. That looked like a free win for Citadel, and it was turned so quickly. Still a monumental gold swing in favor of Citadel. Looking back on that fight and the Otacon, you'll still definitely take that alongside all of the roses, but definitely could have been a bit cleaner. These are the exact fights that we saw Citadel struggling with on day number 1. We will see if that continues to be a bit of an issue for them moving forward. All of that happening and there still being about a 5k gold lead in favor of Citadel definitely shows that they are still in control of this game, but with Baron spawning in less than a minute, that definitely will be the marker on the map for most. Infernal Dragon is up as well. It will be 3rd Dragon for Citadel if they go for that. Looks like top tower will be the trade. Gonna try and match topside, but tower will be gone. Objective bounty will be claimed, and that 3rd dragon will go over to the side of Citadel. Baron spawning in 5 seconds. No summoners on Senna as pinged out, or at least they believe no summoners on Senna. Heal is definitely still up. Prince potentially looking for Trevor to overextend. 4k gold lead for Citadel going into this Baron fight. This could be the game determiner. Foles gonna once again get chunked out at the beginning of these fights. This Corki is permanently at half health, and Bradley once again is just doing so much in a side lane. This time it's the Cassante feeling the wrath of the Talia, and this might actually be a solo kill. It will be exactly that. Bradley is on a rampage. He has been an absolute menace, and he's on the inhibitor tower in the bot lane. Somebody's got to back to stop him. Right now it's going to be the Corki, but that's going to leave so many opportunities open for the rest of the Citadel team to focus and prioritize this Baron. The tower's getting dangerously low. Foles is back to potentially try and protect it. Citadel's actually going to be looking for the fight here. We can see their positioning. Maokai Ultimate's going to come out. It's not going to land onto anybody. Love Ego, though, is going to be stunned up. He's going to be CC chained. Philip will pick up the kill. And that's a 2 for 0 in favor of Citadel. That should be a free Baron take as Bradley and Instinct make their way up here. No real way for Forever Forward to be able to contest this one. And once again, it's the pressure that Bradley is able to generate in a side lane that really creates all of the tension and all of the forceful movements that Forever Forward have to make. The Karthus ultimate's going to come down, but it's going to do quite a lot of damage, in fact, but not going to be enough to really sway anything in any direction. And we once again have a Maddie Socials Baron buff power play on our hands. Take another shot, Maddie. But we could potentially be seeing a collapse in the mid lane here. Armeo is going to flash onto Foles, and the Corki will go down. Bradley is unstoppable on this Talia, and things are going from bad to worse for Forever Forward. A game that looked like it was starting to get a lot more interesting seems to have fallen out of control. Armeo, Instinct, and Trevor are going to be pushing down the mid lane here. Bradley continuing to look for options. But one errant fight here could be the end of the game. Baron minions pushing down mid lane turret. Philip on that top lane inhibitor. The siege has begun, but there is so much poke coming in from the other side. Instinct ends up saving Trevor from the Cassante. Understands that he can play a little bit more far forward. Philip now, though, pushing those Baron minions into the base. The inhibitor has been taken down. Him and Armeo are just standing in the base. Philip is so strong, and he is so so confident. He's lacking in any sort of fear. He is chunking out God. He's chunking out Leave Ego. Bradley on the bottom side of this fight, chunking out everybody else. Love Ego has to jump over to Foles, and things are looking dire for Forever Forward. The mid inhibitor will drop, and this Baron push is going to continue. They have the minions to keep going. 3 inhibitors dropped. Minions pushing into the base. The ult will come out from Bradley. Armeo going to stun up and take down the Caitlyn on the other side. God gonna try to go unstoppable, but it's a double kill for Philip, and the towers are going to fall. Karthus is going to drop. The Nexus will be next. It's a 2-0 win for Citadel as they attempt to try and get their ace here in the fountain. Both Foles and Love Ego are gonna fall at the end of this. Only Philip has to pay his life. It's a shutdown for Foles, but too little, too late. The Nexus will fall, be a 2-0 in favor of Citadel, and they will be moving on to round number 3. Big, big win for Citadel. Big, big win for Citadel. Can definitely still be cleaner, but we definitely take that. Bradley GOAT, indeed. Bradley was a menace in this series. GG's all around. GG's all around, indeed. Really well played by everyone involved. Bradley, 37,000 damage in this game. 10, 1, and 11 on the Talia. Multiple solo kills, a 1v2 outplay. Bradley is playing out of his mind at this tournament, and it's really putting Citadel in a phenomenal spot. $1340 damage per minute for Bradley. Indeed, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And a sub 30-minute win here for Citadel. Congratulations to the team. It was a very, very good win. Whew, and it was a good day of games. We had a lot of fun today, I think. Forever Forward has nothing to be ashamed of. They had an awesome series at the beginning of today against Vancouver Impact, where they looked excellent. And they put up a good fight here in game number 2. Almost felt like they were going to be able to come back at some points, but just not enough frontline. Not enough ways to force the situation, unfortunately, for them. All right. That's probably going to be it for me today. We've covered the big games. We'll see if Aegis is still going. We need someone to raid here. Could always raid you. Lots still going on. All right, we're going to raid Cubby. We are going to raid Cubby. Cubby was chilling in chat. In fact, he might still be in chat. He is not. We're going to raid Cubby. Everybody go say hi. Everybody go say hi. Let me get all of this set up. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. We'll be taking off. Everybody join the raid. Join the raid. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good night, everybody.